It's all going badly. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third round of the 2004 Formula One World Championship here at the brand new Bahrain International Circuit. I am not joined by Benjamin Wald. I am joined by Nils Hartl. Welcome in, Nils.
Hello, everybody.
This track has got a lot of straights on this circuit. Yeah, it's a very power-dependent track, this one, and we expect to see a lot of overtaking opportunities into the Turn 1, heaviest braking zone on the circuit, as well as Turn 4, and maybe even into the likes of Turns 10 and 11. If you missed the last round, we saw a Renault 1-2 in which Fernando Alonso took his first win and therefore his first points of the season so far. He is in third place but sits 8 points adrift of his teammate after two very strong performances in which the Renaults scored a 1-2 in Malaysia, Pantano in second, and it was, I believe, Kimi Raikkonen completed the podium. What are your thoughts going into this race? Do you see any upsets further throughout the field, especially with David Coulthard still in second position in the drivers' standings?
Seeing as this track is more power dependent, I see the Renault struggling a bit this time around. Seeing as they struggled compared to Jarno Trulli during the Malaysian Grand Prix as well, and feel like the McLarens also maybe got the edge on the both Renaults, but it's all still a green track, so everybody has a fair chance.
Michael Schumacher in the McLaren, of course, retiring from the Malaysian Grand Prix. He's down in 7th place behind old 1997 rival Jacques Villeneuve in the driver's standings. He'll be wanting to try and get his first podium of the season. We also saw a first point of the season for Felipe Massa in the Red Bull, as this is what the constructors looked like. Renault leading by 13 ahead of now second place McLaren with BAR in third place. If you also missed it, it was Pedro de la Rosa in post-race scrutineering was actually disqualified for having an illegal car. Practice times see Ferrari once again leading at the front as they were in Malaysia. A 1-2 for Trulli and Barrichello, with the Italian over 3/10 ahead of the rest of the field. Fernando Alonso in third and Jacques Villeneuve fourth ahead of Michael Schumacher. Dan Weldon, Sperrifico and Massa completing the top 8. You'll quickly realise there's no Giorgio Pantano. He was down in 16th position after a brake failure down at turn 1 took him out of contention with very little laps on the board for him. Opel as well were a big surprise with their big upgrade package, bringing Pedro de la Rosa to 14th and Timo Glock 19th, just ahead of reigning world champion Ralf Schumacher. We also saw a pretty poor performance in practice, at least, from Jaguar, who saw their drivers down in 25th with Cristiano Damata and 27th for Jenson Button, but Takuma Sato is another driver who will be hoping for a little bit better, as he is 28th, only ahead of the two Minardis. Any big surprises in that practice session for you, Nils?
Really not, seeing as the Opels already proved to be quite capable in terms of top speed with their horsepower, but maybe that Sato's a bit further down in the running order, but really just practice times. Multiple teams probably doing long runs while other teams try to get some sponsorship money and do quite a bit lap times, but the real times will be set in qualifying now.
Welcome in, everybody, by the way. Welcome in Benny, Pioneer, Rose, Attent, Jonto and Flavio Briatore, both of them at the same time. Welcome in, everybody. And without further ado, let's get straight into the qualifying session, in which we will hope to see some times, hopefully. So an hour qualifying session. I was supposed to turn the mini-map off. For some reason, it's just broken with the plugin and this track. I don't exactly know why. But yeah. Also with the graphics, I forgot to change them for like I did like the practice graphics and everything, but I didn't change the starting soon bits. Yeah, Pioneer's in the chat. Yes, he is. He is indeed here. There's a message from him in the chat as Nick Heidfeld, first one out on circuit, much to the delight of Nils.
If he sets a good lap time, yes.
Shinji Nakano also out there on circuit. He was pretty decent in practice. He was ahead of both Jaguars. I believe he was 24th, directly behind his teammate Patrick Friesacker. The Bootsons seem to be carrying a bit more pace than what I have shown in other practice sessions, as a couple more drivers exiting the pit lane. Fernando Alonso wanted to get out there early. I also set up a timer for the bot to see, because the command for Discord, it doesn't work for whatever reason in YouTube. So I tried setting up a timer bot as well to see if that works. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be showing up in about 5 minutes time, at the latest. So we'll see if it actually works. Let's actually go through the upgrades, as a couple people wouldn't have seen that, as if you're not in my Discord server. Hopefully the Discord link shows up. I believe it should also be in the description of the stream. Yes, it is. So if you check out the description of the stream, then you can also join the Discord through that way. It was Honda that's fetched a drag reduction upgrade. I'm not exactly sure. I don't have it written down. I'm so unprepared for this today. I don't know why. But I know it was Opel's fetched a front downforce, rear downforce, and drag reduction on their body, as well as I believe Toyota fetched some form of drag reduction up front wing. Do you want to take us through the upgrades? Because I don't have it written down in front of me.
I can. Toyota arrived with a revised front wing in terms of drag reduction, with Minardi also bringing new front wing design, taking some of their cash, pretty low cash, to invest in their current 2004 car. As you already said, that Honda brought upgrades in terms of reliability for the gearbox, and I don't even see Opel written here.
Yeah, it was a last-minute rush job to actually get them on the car. It was unsure whether they'd actually get them on in time or not. They do fetch a front downforce upgrade, a rear downforce upgrade, and a body drag reduction upgrade. Somehow managing to get 3 upgrades on before the third round of the season. Pretty impressive from the German team, as we see Nick Heidfeld now in the final sector. He's 3/10 slower than Fernando Alonso through the first part of the lap. Through the second part, obviously, only driver to set a sector time in sector 2 so far. Up towards the line, though, for Nick Heidfeld. He'll set the benchmark of a 1:39.613. Shinji Nakano in the Boots and Asia Tech will be hoping to at least to try and get onto the grid for the first time this season. No upgrades for the Boots car, despite their improvements in pace, as Fernando Alonso, I don't know if he's being held up or something, but he's not particularly strong through that middle sector. Slower than Heidfeld as it currently stands. I think he is stuck behind a car, 26. That might be an Opel that he's stuck behind, actually, as Shinji Nakano across the line, almost a second slower than the German. Oh, he's stuck behind Antonio Pizzoni. So Alonso splits the German and the Japanese drivers to go into second position. He's definitely going to need a better lap without traffic, so he can, well, if he stays with that lap, he's not going to be troubling the top of the timing pages, as Timo Glock through the first 2 sectors, 2/10 down on his compatriot. Alexander Wirtz, though, takes pole position by a comfortable margin, 1.6 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Welcome in Jack, by the way, as well as Sene, Blue Storm, and Gallifreyan. Welcome in, everybody. This is a massively very different 2004 than I remember. Well, this is actually a series that I was doing more privately that started back in 1998. So this is the 7th season of this AI simulated career mode, in which I decided to do a stream series basically on it. Let me try and find Cristiano de Mata. Actually, let me go find Kimi Raikkonen. Great TV direction. Anyway, as Raikkonen purple in the first sector, I decided to start streaming it. I wanted a bit of a break from the 1994 F1 Challenge career mode, which a lot of you will know me for, which, by the way, I did do a test race yesterday for it at Fuji, testing out that track as well, possibly to try and get on the calendar in the future. It was an interesting race, to say the least. So what is the series' history of champions? That's a good question. So, McLaren had the fastest car back in 1998. However, injuries for both Mika Hakkinen at San Marino and David Coulthard at Montreal saw Michael Schumacher jump into unlikely championship contention, in which he won by 15 points by the end over Hakkinen. 1999 was a lot more comfortable. It saw Schumacher versus Irvine for the championship in 99, in which Schumacher won again to win his 4th championship. We have then since seen David Coulthard take a record-breaking 10 victories in a single season for McLaren in 2000. 2001 saw a massive shake-up of the regulations, which saw Williams and Alexander Wurz just about take the championship ahead of Mika Hakkinen's McLaren. So going into the final season of Mika Hakkinen's career, 2002, Michael Schumacher joined McLaren from Ferrari after 2 very disappointing seasons. He felt like he'd done enough to bring Ferrari back to their former glory, and as such moved to the Silver Arrows, and on his first season won the championship by, I think it was by a fairly comfortable margin in the end, something like 20 points or something like that. 16 points, okay. By which point Hakkinen then retired, so we never saw a Mika Hakkinen championship in this career mode. He has gone down as the greatest ever driver to never win a driver's championship. And then last season was Ralf Schumacher, who moved to Ferrari from BAR to get try and challenge for a championship. He also left at the end of the season. He left Ferrari due to, coincidentally, earlier on in the season thinking that his teammate Jarno Trulli was being favoured at the team, hence why he moved to Honda, which is so far not looking like a great move. No points for him so far in the first 2 rounds of the season. And right now, Giorgio Pantano, after 2 rounds, moved from Jaguar to Renault this season and leads the championship by 7 points ahead of the BAR of David Coulthard. And that's the history, pretty much, of the champions of this career mode. Alex Young is on the grid once again. He was expected to only do a one-off race in Malaysia, but he showed good enough pace to remain in the seat, at least for this race. It's confirmed, though, that Thiago Monteiro will be back in the car for Manny Core. It's not expected, though, that either Minardi will make it onto the grid, as Alex Young there, 6.5 seconds off the pace.
Now, while you explained the history to the viewers, Kimi Räikkönen went fastest by 7.5 tenths ahead of Alexander Wurz. Barrichello was faster in the first 2 sectors, but got held up during the final sector. Therefore, he's only 4th fastest. Speaking of Jaguar, their pace seemingly has gotten worse over 1 week.
Yeah.
Seeing as Damata's only 300s down or up on Heidfeld, so expect one Jaguar probably to fall out of the contention for the race.
Well, after practice, Jenson Button had some fairly choice words for his car. He joked with the media that one or both of the Jaguars in this Grand Prix could get knocked out, which obviously for the Ford Works team would be a massive shame. Do you actually see that happening though, Nils? I know you said that there's a possible chance, but do you feel like either one of them has a decent chance of actually being knocked out?
Damata.
You think Damata's going out? Okay.
Seeing as how close Heidfeld, Glock are already on their first runs, I see the matter maybe falling at the first hurdle.
Interesting stuff, as we now see Justin Wilson currently on a lap in the Rose Toyota, the one-time fastest lap holder in Formula 1, where he drove a couple of races for Williams in 2002. We'll be hoping to get onto the grid this time round after surprisingly missing out on qualification. 27th place he was in Malaysia, which was not good enough to get him onto the grid. He missed out by just over 2/10, I believe it was. Goes 6th fastest. A decent lap there takes him to within a couple tenths of Takuma Sato and decently ahead of the likes of Dematter and Heidfeld.
As Mark Webber is next up, going through the second sector and the Red Bull Lamborghini. They probably will do fine around here as well, seeing as they have a quite powerful engine and decent aerodynamics if the setup is correct, not like last time around in Malaysia for Mark Webber. As I would like to see the second sector split, but we rather see the top speed difference between Kimi Räikkönen and Alexander Wurz. There we have it, 42.034 for Mark Webber, rounding the final corner, tricky corner. A lot of dust out at the outside of the curb there, which gets regular kicked up, and Mark Webber goes 4th fastest as Jarno Trulli is also on a flyer, being purple in the first sector.
Yeah, so Jarno Trulli, first one to delve into the 31s through that first sector. His teammate Rubens Barrichello just ahead of Takuma Sato in 5th place. Sato, as we're on about him, is actually falling under pressure by Honda, with recent results really not being good enough according to certain media outlets, with a possibility of him being axed maybe even before the end of the season. Of course, a good testing lineup Honda has, signing former Brabham driver Sebastian Bourdais, as well as a proven race winner in Formula 3000 in Nicolas Chiesa. Two purple sectors for Jarno Trulli make that 3 as he goes to pole position fairly comfortably there. 1.7 seconds faster than the rest of the field to go to pole position fairly comfortably, I would say, as Montoya actually went 3rd, just over 2 seconds now behind the Italian.
Yeah. Going back on the topic of Takuma Sato getting ousted by Honda by mid-season already, would just be a waste of some potential in the Japanese driver, seeing as the car is probably the bigger problem, with Ralph also struggling in the Honda. But if they want to out him, they definitely have a good driver on their hands with Sebastian Bourdais. Ralf Schumacher only goes 8th fastest, just ahead of his teammate, so proving my point.
Montoya going for an unorthodox qualifying run here. 2 consecutive push laps from the Colombian. He's going to now round the final corner and take the checkered flag. Well, not the checkered flag, but he'll take the start-finish line, improve by 2.5 tenths. Does not improve in his position, but he now is on the back of Kimi Räikkönen in terms of his lap time. Zsolt Baumgartner, fan favourite amongst the grid, 10.5 seconds off is not a good lap time at all for the Hungarian. Maybe a problem with his car on this lap, I'm not entirely sure, but we have seen the drag reduction upgrades actually majorly improve Minardi's straight line speed. We've seen an approximated 15 kilometers an hour greater top speed. They were struggling to actually hit 260 kilometers an hour, but as we now go on board with Baumgartner, who is 13.5 seconds off the pace, he actually reaches 277 kilometers an hour. Incredible! They're only 30 kilometers an hour off the rest of the field.
That's some top speeds that you will see in the GP2 car around here.
Yeah.
Incredible. As Nick Heidfeld is looking to improve on his flyer, as well as Kimi Räikkönen, who has been held up on his lap. seeing as the first sector is massively down on his personal, but still an improvement by 7/10.
Hello, James. Welcome into the stream. Nick Heidfeld, big improvement there, nearly 3 seconds worth, sees him move up to third ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya. A great lap from the German.
Definitely. As I think there's somebody else currently on an improvement. If we could get rid of the time comparison, it is Jensen Button on his first flyer. He is only 10th fastest, splitting both Hondas.
Ralph Furman on a lap in the Dams Lola Panos. An interesting strategy for those down at the French team, as they saw none of their regular full-time drivers take part in the practice session. They opted for both their test and reserve driver Jan Magnussen, as well as a GP2 driver currently in the Richard Payot Excellence Camp, Anthony Davidson, take part, in which they showed fairly middling results in the black, red and silver of the Dams Lola, as we now see Ralph Furman now in the final sector. For some reason, the overlay is really loving the top speed graphic today. See that Jarno Trulli is 5 kilometers an hour faster than Kimi Räikkönen down the straights. Absolutely fantastic. We've got a nice sunny day here, according to the overlay. 25 degrees in the air and increasing in the track temperature, as Ralph Furman 14th fastest, 0.2 faster than Glock, who's also out there on circuit improving.
Yeah, rounding this long left-hander, going up the hill, and is 0.8 down through the middle sector, so decent improvement. 2.5 seconds up on his personal flyer would see him jump up to around about P4, P3 also.
You could maybe be challenging Heidfeld here, yeah.
Yeah. Up to the line goes the young German and goes faster than Nick Heidfeld, a 36.5 dead on. 4 times faster than Heidfeld, actually.
Any more drivers currently on the lap? Alex Wurtz's 2001 world champion at Williams. Of course, not in a very competitive Williams this season. 0.4 down nearly through that first sector. Do you see Williams improving to a possible race-winning status this season? I know that Montoya has obviously been putting in, I feel like, performances better than what the car is worth in the first part of the season. 3rd place in Australia, but was disqualified post-scrutineering, but then quickly followed that up with a legal 4th place in Malaysia.
Really depends if their first upgrades get them back on the road, seeing as their Walrus nose design seemingly has not helped them gain underfloor aerodynamic, and they're probably struggling with front-end grip, so maybe work on that to get some more performance out of the car. The BMW engine is still the most powerful around, or one of the most powerful engines, so the power department is not the problem, more the aerodynamics of the Williams, as Wurtz is rounding the final corner and goes up to the line and goes 3rd fastest, 0.8 down on Jarno Trulli. David Coulthard and Shinji Nakano are both on the lap.
Yeah, so a fairly similar occurrence with Opel actually challenging Williams in terms of pace in the practice session. It seems like it's going to be no different in actual qualifying, where all the cars are turned up to the max, with Glock and Wurtz separated by just over 0.2 seconds. Shinji Nakano is improving, but as of course the overlay loves not showing us the second sector split times, as he now heads towards the final corner. He's looking for a decent improvement to maybe take himself close to the top 10. He's actually not improved though through the second sector, so it might not be such a great lap as we thought from Nakano. 0.6 improvement, doesn't move in position. 16th he remains. so far as we head a third way into this session. David Coulthard, one-time podium sitter so far this season, would love another podium at the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix. Where can he slot his BAR? He goes 4th place between Verts, just ahead of Timo Glock, I believe, by less than a tenth of a second. Actually, 8 thousandths separating the Brit and the German, as we might see a new face at the top of the timing sheets. 2 purple sectors, however, a failure to improve for the first sector sees Barrichello go second fastest, just over 4 tenths slower than his teammate Jarno Trulli.
Justin Wilson is only 1/10 down on Rubens through the first sector, but I feel like he's also being chased. Yeah, he's being chased by Nakano, so maybe he's putting some extra effort into this lap so that Nakano doesn't think about an overtake. As Wilson comes up to the second sector split, where it probably will change. Yeah, there it goes. So we don't see the improvement for the second sector, but yeah, the difference between Barrichello and Trulli are 4 tenths currently, as Barrichello's also on his second lap already. There we go. 42.023 through the second sector sees the young Brit up to the line and goes 11 fastest, ahead of 2003 world champion Ralf Schumacher.
Dan Weldon also out on the circuit. Many were questioning his appointment to the to BAR, sorry, as he's actually been proving his critics fairly wrong. Only 1 point scored so far this season, although his testing and practice times, at least, he's been putting in good laps, and more often than not actually beating David Coulthard. So we'll see if he can actually convert that today into a possible points finish. He was 6th place, I believe, in the practice session here in Bahrain. He'll be hoping to, well, if he can beat his teammate, I think it'll be a very good day for the Briton. But of course, for the 2000 champion, it could be a bit of warning signs that a change of guard could be happening down at BAR.
Really depends if Weldon finally gets it together during the races, seeing as Coulthard beat him twice now in the race, especially getting a podium in Australia, with Weldon being a non-factor in Malaysia, being 2 laps down, and also on his teammate actually, as he's going only 15 fastest, just ahead of Cristiano D'Amata by 2 thousandths of a second.
Not a good lap there, a banker lap. Definitely the case for the one-time point scorer so far in his Formula 1 career. As we see, is that Nick Heidfeld just exiting the pits? Yes, it is.
Benoit Trellier is on a lap.
It is indeed. And up towards the line for the Frenchman. He'll go to 19th place in the second Rose Toyota car. Obviously, not as fast as his teammates after 2 runs. Well, 2 runs for Wilson, 1 so far for Trellier as we enter 25 minutes into the qualifying session. Trellier down in 19th. I'll be hoping maybe to try and score some points at some point this season. Obviously, the only Rose Toyota driver so far in their brief history to score points, with a 5th place finish at the 2003 San Marino Grand Prix. Cristiano D'Amata on another lap, but getting held up a little bit by Ralph Furman. Sees a most minor of improvements from the Brazilian as he jumps ahead of Dan Weldon, but it's only 15th fastest for him, and he's nearly a second off both his teammate and the 2 Hondas.
Being held up by your customer team probably doesn't help your negotiations for next season, seeing as the engines in the back of the Lola or the Dams Lola are also Ford power.
There we go. Sorry.
Oh, that was good.
There we go. Right.
As Raikkonen up to the line has an improvement for the first sector, but not the second sector. As Baumgartner also improves to be only 8.7 seconds off the pace. Raikkonen does improve by 7 tenths on his lap and goes fastest at the moment, just barely ahead of Jarno Trulli.
Speaking of Jarno Trulli, Jack asks, when will Jarno Trulli win a race this season? Well, of course, he has been, I'd say, by far and away the fastest driver in the opening 2 rounds, of course, dominating in the early parts of Australia before crashing into Takuma Sato's stricken car. And then in Malaysia, he had a gearbox failure while leading quite comfortably as well. So I feel like it's going to be a question of when rather than if for Trulli. Do you think he can finally take his first victory this season here in Bahrain?
If the car doesn't blow itself to pieces again, or some driver in front of him makes a mistake, he will most definitely have the best chance around here. As we still don't see the second sector split times, because the plugin decides to change everything just as we approach the timing line there, but Heifeld rounding the final corner. Up to the line goes the German, still on an improvement, and improves on his lap time but not his position, as Takuma Sato's also on a flying lap. Currently down in 14th. Is it? Is it Benny?
Oh, Antonio Pizzonia there with a very good first sector, 2 tenths away from Kimi Raikkonen's current pole time and 3.6 seconds up on his previous best. So he's looking for a handsome improvement, although he might fall under a bit of traffic problems with no, it's not an Invitor, it's a total Dams Lola Panos this season. As now we see the Japanese driver up towards the line. He could see himself jump ahead of his teammate. He does jump quite far up the order, actually. Tucks in nicely between Heidfeld and Montoya to go to 8th place, and currently in the point-paying positions. If this was the end of a race weekend, I'm sure he would take a championship point. His best result so far in Formula 1 is an 8th place. I believe he got fairly early on in the 2003 season. His only point so far in his short career so far. Pizzonia with a good lap there to take him ahead of his teammate Nick Heidfeld. Both of the Brabhams within the top 8. We've not seen a lot of the usual front-running order, but right now it's looking pretty good for Opel and Brabham.
Probably the top team saving their engines, seeing as the temperatures around here are pretty high. Maybe only doing one flyer and calling it a day, and doing the best things during the race, as Ralf Schumacher goes 8th fastest, just ahead of Nick Heidfeld, splitting both Brabhams, as Timo Glock is improving once again, goes 5th fastest ahead of Dave Coulthard, so decent lap Nick Heidfeld. Timo Glock, mein flop. Top tier commentary today.
Yeah, most definitely. It's almost my level when I was doing GP2 the other day. Giorgio Pantano out on circuit. Maybe his confidence a little bit shaken following the crash that he had in free practice. A brake failure in towards turn 1 saw him have very limited running in the session. Fortunately, he was perfectly fine and walked away from his crash despite it being fairly high speed. Pantano has not been a brilliant qualifier this season. I believe so far he's qualified 5th and 6th, if I recall correctly, in the opening 2 rounds, and he's actually been out-qualified fairly comprehensively by his Spanish teammate Fernando Alonso in both of those rounds. As Nicolas Manassian now rounding the final corner, he'll be hoping to try and get himself in and around the points-paying positions, as their closest rivals, Red Bull, actually scored a point for the first time in their 2-race history in their collaboration with Sauber. Manassian, though, 18th place on his banker run and 100th ahead of his teammate Ralph Furman. Now riding on board with Giorgio Pantano for this qualifying lap. heading into turn 1. You're hitting nearly about 305 kilometers an hour before getting heavy on the brakes, down to 80 kilometers an hour. First gear, try and hold onto the traction. Obviously, you don't need to do that too much with these cars, with them having traction control. And then it's another long run in towards another heavy braking zone, a great overtaking opportunity down towards turn 4. And then it's the downhill long slalom of 5, 6 and 7. Very nice and satisfying when you get those just right. And then another heavy braking zone in towards turn 8. It could prove to be quite tricky on the brakes this Grand Prix, with a lot of braking zones, a lot of dust from the sand, and a lot of temperature could lead to things overheating. Another first gear corner of turn 10 as Jarno Trulli sees a massive improvement there, now moves 3/4 of a second clear ahead of the rest of the field. Giorgio Pansino now coming up towards the second sector split. Are we going to see a cut away from the lap times? You betcha. Now towards turn 14, out of turn 14, and then it's another long run into not quite as heavy of a braking zone, but still quite a heavier one. We might see a couple of overtakes here. We saw a number of overtakes here happening in GP2 on Friday, and now exiting out the final corner, and it's a long run. You're waiting forever to get up towards the line, and a banker lap of 1:35.6 sees Giorgio Pansino in the top 3.
The banker by the Italian, with Montoya on his 5th run in total now, I think.
I'm not entirely sure, but the two Williams have ended up finding each other on circuit, which is obviously not great unless they're trying to orchestrate some form of slipstream. It seems that they've held each other up pretty massively, though, as Montoya 2 seconds down on his personal best. Obviously not going to do in terms of a good enough lap time, as Pansino actually going for another lap time in this session. Hello Jake, hello Jeffrey, welcome in.
Stavarosa and Friesaka are also out on track for the first time during this session, so Sparrow-Fico, Villeneuve, Massa and Michael Schumacher once again being the only drivers yet to be out on circuit, as Wirtz is now being held up by his teammate. Probably the story of their time together at Williams, constantly holding each other up.
Are we going to see a cutaway? Oh my god, we're going to see a second sector split. That's mad.
The scenes. Pantano goes up into the final corner. To the line goes the Italian of the past years, and does not improve on his lap time, with Wirtz being 3 seconds down because he's being held up by Pablo Montoya, but Pantano seemingly doing another lap on this set of tires. Nakano is improving on his personal flight, 3 times up on his personal best. Let's see the Japanese driver actually challenging both Dam's cars of Furman and Minacion. As Pantano is not improving through the first sector, maybe he needs to change his tires, as he has maybe overdone it with them. Ricardo now rolling this left-hander up to this swooping right, with the next braking zone immediately after the apex of that corner. Quite tricky to get it right, but if you do, it's quite satisfying. Into the final corner goes Nakano. We'll see him improve probably to like P17, P16, challenging at least one of the Jaguars.
P13.
Where is he? 13, so as well. So
weren't expecting to look so high for the Japanese driver, as he 9/10 behind his fellow countrymen. Hello LMWFB. That was a mouthful. If you want to check out more information about this series, be sure to check out the Discord link. It's just sent in chat, as well as it being in the description of the stream. Patrick Friesacker, first lap on the board, 5.5 seconds off, 140.0s. Definitely need to go out again, as he's within the 4 slowest times so far that we've seen in this session. Pedro de la Rosa also on a banker lap out the final corner. Could see him improving, well, with a faster time at least than the Austrian. We do see him go to 15th position ahead of Mark Webber in the Red Bull.
Being behind his countryman Fernando Alonso, we have been yet to see out on track again.
Yeah, so obviously a brand new circuit. We're bound to see a lot of time swings in terms of difference of time between a banker run and then your second, third and fourth qualifying run in the session. Joel Baumgartner, third qualifying run for him, sees him improve marginally, but no closer than half a second to his teammate Alex Young. It's really mainly just a qualifying shootout between those two to see who will set the faster time, as Michael Schumacher prepping to set up a lap time as he now comes towards the final corner. Jacques Villeneuve also out there on circuit, not with a brilliant first sector, over a second down on Jarno Trulli through that first part of the lap. As we now see on board with Michael Schumacher, 5-time world champion in 94, 95, 98, 99 and 2002, is looking for a record-breaking 6th world championship to beat the record set by Juan Manuel Fangio in 1957. As it now comes towards turn 4 now. Heavy braking zone, get the car turned in. And what will the first sector split be for the German? It's a 32-1, 4 tenths down in the first sector. Not bad for a banker run so far. There's Ralph Furman also out there on circuit. Sorry, Ralph Furman 5 seconds down currently, and if he isn't improving, then he could fall to a fall foul maybe of the cutoff point if he's not looking for a good enough improvement. Obviously the Cosworth engine being quite visibly berated by those up and down the paddock, as well as multiple media outlets. Furman only 20th fastest after his second run. The Irishman not putting in a good lap there, as Nicolas Manassi and his teammate also will be looking for a bit of an improvement. Michael Schumacher now in the final sector and powering his Mercedes-powered car towards the final corner. Kimi Räikkönen, meanwhile, completed all of his laps before his teammates even completed one. He will start no higher than second place, so no repeat of his Australia antics, as Michael Schumacher goes 5th fastest between Rubens Barrichello and Juan Pablo Montoya.
While Michael set his first flyer, 97 world champion Jacques Villeneuve only managed to go into 19th before Michael set his lap time, now in 20th. Mark Webber improves to 8th position, Minasion currently on a 1.8 second improvement. Desperately needs that as well, seeing as he's 24th only on the grid at the moment.
Oh, was he stuck behind Baumgartner? That makes sense why Furman wasn't. Or was it?
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Manassian 15th fastest. Not as high as we were expecting him to be. Just a couple of tenths ahead of Shinji Nakano in the Boutsen, as he's behind currently both Brabhams and both Hondas. So maybe the Cosworth engine that's in the back of the Dams Lola is maybe affecting them on these long straights, of course. As I was saying, the Cosworth engine being quite known for being pretty much a bunching bag so far this season, as being quite an underpowered work of machinery.
Definitely. Coulthard up to the second sector split, which doesn't change again. Lovely. Improves by 1.5 tenths on his current best lap.
It's not looking too great for BAR with Coulthard. If he's only improving by a tenth, he might actually struggle to even beat Timo Glock in the Opel. Never mind Mark Webber in the Red Bull. Seems that BAR has slid backwards a little bit and is up towards the line. I'll just take back what I've just said, as he goes sixth fastest with a brilliant final sector to put him just ahead of the Colombian of Montoya.
Next up probably will be Sparrofico. Oh, was nearly a collision. Whoever is now stuck in
pit lane.
In the pits.
So that's brilliant
His
for Mark
qualifying
Webber.
Essentially over.
I think he was actually involved there slightly with a Honda coming down the pit lane, as his teammate Felipe Massa now out on...
Oh.
Great stuff.
I mean,
is he now?
He at least got rid of him.
Then he's just given the Ferrari a little kiss in the pit lane.
Hopefully the Ferrari can go out on track again.
Not really a PG stream anymore, as we now see Jenson Button starting his lap. A second lap, currently in 20th position, just under 4 seconds away from pole position.
As Sparrofico comes up slowly to the second time split as well, being quite decently close to a good banker lap in the first sector. Button now up to the first sector split. He is 4 tenths up on his personal best, 9 tenths down on the pole position currently by Jarno Trulli.
Jenson Button then into the heaviest, well, not the heaviest, one of the trickiest braking zones. Locks up an inside front there in towards turn 10. No problem, LM. Thank you. It's great to see that people do enjoy, well, either one of the career modes that I do, as well as Sampass. Welcome in. Hope your day and your, well, I hope everyone's week has gone well. Second sector split there for Jenson Button. A second improvement for him would see him in the ballpark of Shinji Nakano, which is not great for the Jaguar team, considering he is a driver that has not yet qualified for a single Grand Prix. The Briton will now exit the final corner and will power his way up towards a line, and it will be a 1:37.1. It sees him ahead of Shinji Nakano by 7 tenths of a second. So we found a decent amount of time there through that final sector. Dan Weldon now down in 25th position. He's been slowly but surely sliding his way down the order with a fairly poor banker lap. Improving by 8 tenths of a second though through the first part of the lap. If he keeps that form up, 2.4 seconds worth of improvement for Dan Weldon would see him 15th around Jenson Button's sort of pace, which obviously still wouldn't be great for the BAR team, as they would they've been challenging pretty much all the time, constantly so far this season for the top 10 places on the grid. 1.7 seconds up through the first 2 sectors. He's really picking up time now as he heads towards the final corner to complete his second lap of the session. Patrick Friesacker, currently a driver on the bubble, is improving as well on his lap. Felipe Massa setting pretty much an identical first sector to the Austrian, as Dan Weldon, like I said, 15th place. Not a good lap from him, considering his teammate is a second up the road and in 6th position.
LD faster than the Jaguar from Jenson Button, so really a poor lap by the Brit.
As Patrick Friesacker, actually, first sector, we didn't actually realise this, his first sector was actually faster than what Dan Weldon's just done, so this could actually be fairly comparable between the BAR and the Boutsen. Who would have thought that following the first 2 rounds, as now the Austrian really fired up to try and get himself maybe into the top 20 with this first lap. Now down in 27th place thanks to Massa improving or going for a first lap and moving himself into 15th place himself, and is not displaced by Friesacker. 19th place though sees him ahead of his teammates by 3 tenths of a second.
Some dizzying heights for the Boutsen team currently, with both drivers into the race as it currently stands, but if you look at the timing pages, you see some pretty prominent names there, with Alonso only 21st, Villeneuve only 24th, and currently, as I said earlier, Cristiano D'Amata only 27th, so as it currently stands, one of the Jaguar is in qualifying.
Yeah, we saw Pantano just there, not improving on his lap time. 1.2 seconds off the pace, so 0.2 down on his personal best. So he's no better than third place right now. His teammate down in 21st position. He'll be hoping to build on his first race win of the season and his third win overall in his Formula 1 career after winning one race each so far in 2002, 3 and 4. Shinji Nakano sees a 0.2 improvement, but no change in his position, just over, or under a 10th I should say, behind his teammate Patrick Friesacker. Pedro de la Rosa will be hoping to come somewhere close towards his teammate, who's still in the top 10. Pedro de la Rosa, wow, what a lap! Fourth position for Pedro de la Rosa to move himself ahead of the Ferrari of Barrichello.
I beg you what?
Where's that lap come from Pedro de la Rosa? What a lap from the Spaniard, as he's just over a second away from pole position. We're both completely shocked by that one, as Jarno Trulli again looking for purple sectors in the first part of the lap. Jacques Villeneuve down in 24th position, really does need this lap now. With just a quarter of the session remaining, will be looking to try and get himself somewhere close to the top 10. 7th place for the Canadian puts him within a 10th of Michael Schumacher in 6th, as Jarno Trulli still looking for an improvement through the second sector. Across the second sector split, half a 10th up between him and his personal best, so he's looking like he's going to improve a little bit more unless he makes a little bit of a hash of it through this final corner. We'll have to wait and see. Seems fairly clean and tidy from the Italian, and it seems like he's going to extend his gap at the front up towards the line though. Will it be an improvement? It is just under a 10th for Jarno Trulli, an improvement by, as he now moves to 8.5 tenths clear of the rest of the field.
Maybe we need to check that De La Rosa car again, because as it seems it's once again not that up to standard maybe, but Alex Young is 1.5 seconds up on his personal best, only 5.5 seconds now down on Jarno Trulli. In the meantime, Alonso is also back out on circuit. Shinji Nakano has finished his qualifying laps, so it's slowly kicking off now with 13 minutes remaining.
Alex Young up towards the line in the Minardi, and actually a fairly good improvement there from the Malaysian, still over 7 seconds off the pole time, and it does see him still in 29th place, but Alex Young, he's had the upper hand over Zsolt Baumgartner in these previous two races. Maybe Paul Stoddart could be thinking about maybe replacing Zsolt Baumgartner with Alex Young, as but then again, with the sponsor money that comes from their title sponsor MOL, it could be a bit of a difficult task to do so. Justin Wilson also looking for an improvement. If you recall, he actually was knocked out in qualifying last time out in Malaysia. 27th place for him, as Patrick Friesacker got onto the grid for the first time this season. He's currently down in 25th place, ahead of Sperrifico, actually. We've completely missed him under the radar in the Toyota. 27th right now, after, I assume, what would be only one run so far. Cristiano De Mata as well. Pretty much last, if we discount the two Minardis.
Yeah, with Sperrifico, as you already stated, he's probably on his first runner, but needs to get out on circuit again, as Nick Heidfeld is also back out on circuit. Alex Young actually doing 2 consecutive laps, being 2 tenths up on his personal flyer, as Nick Heidfeld was stuck behind somebody in the traffic. But Justin Wilson up to P13. Where did that lap come from? Pushing Ralph Furman further down into the drop zone.
Nick Heidfeld also on a lap. He's down in 16th, as Mark Webber's car has not been recovered yet. Failure to improve, though, sees him with no change in his position. Someone who needs a change in his position, though, is Ralph Furman.
Oh, somebody.
Oh, that's in the middle
turn 10,
sector.
that's turn 10.
Yeah, that's down at turn 10. Joel Baumgartner in the barriers with 10 minutes remaining in the session. And I'm pretty sure that's going to put a pay to his qualifying session and, as such, his whole race weekend. Massive shame for him. Obviously, there was not really much of a chance of him making it through, as it looks like a brake failure there for the Hungarian down at turn 10. And as such, it's going to put his car completely out of commission. A lot of damage done to that car, it seems, with the Kashrat Minardi team with a bit more of a headache on their hands.
The sponsors need to pay extra for that one, as Ralph Furman goes 22nd on the grid. Fernando Alonso also improving. Desperately needs that improving, as he goes second fastest, only nearly 5 times down on Jarno Trulli. Michael Schumacher also on an improvement, but not through the second sector, as he clearly approached traffic through there. German only currently 7th fastest.
10 minutes to go, and two fairly big names are in the drop zone. Cristiano Da Matta and Ricardo Speraffico, the two Brazilians, currently sat in the bottom 4, as Michael Schumacher, a bit of an improvement there to 4th position, still 2 tenths down on his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Cristiano Da Matta, though, not finding an improvement through the first sector. This could be a massive shame for Jaguar if he cannot get onto the grid, and a bit of an embarrassment for them at the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix. Towards the final corner now for Cristiano Da Matta, and will this lap be good enough for the driver who has scored I believe 19 points last season for BAR? It's not an improvement, and it's 28th place still for Cristiano Da Matta.
And he's not on in second consecutive lap, as Button is also not improving, so he might be under threat as well. Well, actually not. He's quite safe still in 21st, seeing as Baumgartner will not go out on circuit. Jung is not going quick enough for that, and Nakano already finished his laps, as well as Ralph Furman. So Ralph Furman and Shinji Nakano might actually be under threat of potentially getting pushed down the order.
It's going to require improvements from Trellier, Friesacker and Speraffico, maybe even Cristiano Da Matta, to see Ralph Furman out here, as now we see Takuma Sato, 18th place for him so far in this qualifying session. He's currently the bread of a Brabham-filled sandwich, with Nick Heidfeld completing all of his laps in 17th place. An improvement of 0.003 of a second sees no improvement in the Japanese driver's position, as now Felipe Massa, 19th place so far for him, 7 places down on where his teammate is, and 6 tenths behind the Australian, as there goes Giorgio Pantano on the overtake there, so no improvement there looking for the Brazilian. Juan Pablo Montoya, though, looking for an improvement, with the Williams down in P10 and P11 respectively. We'll be hoping to at least try and jump David Coulthard for 9th, maybe even Villeneuve, Barrichello. Della Rosa, completely forgot about him. He's still in 6th place with just 8 minutes remaining, as Pantano has completed all of his qualifying laps. Montoya, though, not looking for any improvement right now. David Coulthard he's up in the first sector and 3 tenths up on what Montoya's just done through that first part of the lap. Dan Weldon also fairly comparative to the Colombian,
as probably down at Boots, and they are probably looking at the timing pages of Ricardo Speraffico, as he's currently also out on circuit again, as Alex Wirtz is also looking for an improvement. Benny Timo is done with his laps. He's down in 13th, but still a decent position
down
for the young
13th.
Compared to his teammates.
I don't think we should necessarily be saying down in 13th, but he's in the midfield ahead of Dan Weldon, who's just improved, but not enough to displace the German of his position. David Coulthard fails to improve, as Rubens Barrichello now looking for a bit of an improvement, especially since he's over a second down on his teammate through the laps so far set in the session. Just over 6 minutes remaining, and Wirtz up towards the line in the Williams. is seeing no improvement. A lot of the drivers really struggling to find time now. We saw this in GP2 as well. Strange considering how green and new this track is. But either way, Rubens Barrichello, he only needs 300ths of a second to improve and pass Pedro de la Rosa. But if he doesn't, then it might it might be a big upset in this qualifying session. Montoya also looking for an improvement, only by half a tenth through the first 2 sectors. As now Barrichello up towards the line. Will he improve on his lap time? He does, good enough to go to the front row. So it's once again re-established as a Ferrari front row lockout, with Montoya still looking for an improvement, as is Ricardo Sperrifico. We'll actually go and look at the Brazilian, as that has permutations on who will make it through. Will it be Nakano or will it be Sperrifico? We'll see in a couple seconds time, as now Sperrifico up towards the line sets a 1:35.5, 5th fastest for the Brazilian, left it right until the death to set a fantastic lap time, and now Shinji Nakano doomed to failing to qualify for the 3rd consecutive race.
Just barely behind his teammate, who is safe already, as well. If Damata's going out on circuit, he might be under threat, but now in the Roast Motorsport Cup, Ben Trullier up to the line in 25th, maybe looking for another improvement just to be sure that he's not getting pushed out of qualifying. But if Barrichello didn't improve on his earlier lap, he might have already called the curtains on his Ferrari time, being behind an Opel.
Webber looking for an improvement through the first sector. Not entirely sure about where he is in comparison to his second sector, but currently in 13th, 8 places ahead of his teammate Felipe Massa. Is looking good for the Australian to outqualify his teammate here in the 3rd round of the 2004 season, as now he enters the final corner. Good exit there from the Australian. Improvement in sector 1, improvement in sector 2, and not quite an improvement in Sector 3, but it is enough to take him ahead of Alexander Wirtz. 12th place and a 6th row of the grid for Mark Webber will do him pretty nicely. Jacques Villeneuve also looking for an improvement. He's being shown up now by his teammate. He needs to find time, as he's now been outqualified by the Brazilian by 5/10 of a second, as Cristiano Da Matta exiting the pit lane. He's going to have one last stab at this, as now Jacques Villeneuve doesn't improve, stays 9th. What about Justin Wilson? Up in 15th place, he looks fairly safe to make it through to the race session here in Bahrain and make it 2 qualifications in 3 races. He's looking for an improvement, though, that would possibly take him ahead of Timo Glock and maybe even Alex Wirtz in the timings. 3/10 down though through those first 2 sectors. Probably not going to see an improvement there from the Briton. Now, what about Cristiano Da Matta? He's out on an out lap, and he's directly ahead of Mark Webber, who should be into the pits at the end.
No, Webber is still on the lap.
Oh no! Oh no, we
might
see some
F1
challenge shenanigans here. Maybe if Cristiano Da Matta can't get his foot down and pull away from the Red Bull. It seems that the Australian is closing in though on the Brazilian and possibly might make a move.
Oh, it's
as so often is the case here for the F1 Challenge AI. We will wait and see if this will be the case. Now down the main straight, and is he lifting off? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
he seems to be going fairly full pace, and if Mark Webber gets on with it, there could be a chance of him picking up a bit of slipstream to try and... Interesting tactics there from Mark Webber as we now head towards turn 4 on board with Cristiano Da Matta's Jaguar.
Oh, God.
An improvement through the first sector? I don't think so. He's a second and a half down. It's almost certainly curtains now for the Brazilian. He's going to be furious with the Red Bull driver. So now we look on board with Michael Schumacher, half a second up in the first 2 sectors, and he's currently behind Ricardo Sperrifico. He'd love to get ahead of his teammate and maybe get himself onto the front 2 rows. He only needs to find 2/10 of an improvement, so an improvement at all through the final sector will see him up to 4th, and it does see him up to 4th. A 1:35 dead sees him just under half a second away from pole position. So Yeah, it seems that Trulli's fairly set for pole, but if Alonso can find even the most menial amount of time in the second and third sector, it could be within a shout of taking the front row instead of Barrichello. Cristiano De Mata is improving by a second and a half through the first sector, so it's just showing how much pace there was probably in that Jaguar, but it's all been ruined by Mark Webber in the Red Bull. Now for Alonso, could he possibly shift his way up into second position? We're not entirely sure, as the second sector split is not being shown to us, as so often is the case. 1 minute remaining on the clock, and a lot of drivers now heading into the pits. Alonso, though, improving through that second sector, but will it be enough to displace Rubens Barrichello? He's going out on circuit, but it won't be enough to retaliate if Alonso does go onto the front row. So a good lap there from Fernando sees him second place, 5 places ahead of his teammate.
I've been informed that somebody from the Bootsen camp has gone to the Red Bull camp and gave them an envelope. I don't know what is inside, but clearly some gifts towards them, seeing as Friesaka was on the cusp. But Sato is improving currently on his lap.
Sato out the final corner, and will
Alonso's
this be
still on the
enough of an
flyer.
improvement? It will be an improvement, but not enough to take him higher than 20th position. The Spaniard is out on circuit and looking for an improvement. As the checkered flag now falls, those drivers that are currently on a lap will have to complete it, and that will mark the end of our qualifying session. Dan Wheldon looking for an improvement, not quite though in the first sector, as Fernando Alonso 31.7 through that first sector, fairly comparable with the provisional pole time, as Alonso's second sector split down through the second sector, so it's not looking like he's going to take pole position, but he could be on course for an improvement and strengthen his position on that front row. Towards the final corner now for Fernando Alonso. What will the lap time be as he heads out of the final corner?
The line and does
No improvement there for the Spaniard, but it is still enough to be on the front row. Further back, I don't know if any other drivers on a lap.
Weldon and Coulthard.
Weldon and Coulthard, so both the BARs looking for improvements. Is now out the final corner for Dan Wheldon. Pretty disappointing for him so far in this session, in 16th as of right now. Doesn't improve, stays 16th. David Coulthard, not much better in the other BAR, in 10th place. Can he move ahead of... oh, wow, a massive improvement there for the last 2 sectors to move himself between the 2 McLarens and up into the top 5. So the 2000 champion doing very well there to get ahead of Kimi Räikkönen on the 3rd row, but it's looking fairly comfortable, and it has been fairly comfortable for Jarno Trulli, who takes pole position for the 3rd round of the season. Fernando Alonso completes the front row with Barrichello in 3rd position. Michael Schumacher just missing out on the top 3 in 4th, with Coulthard, Räikkönen, Sperra-Fico and Giorgio Pansino, championship leader, in 8th. A fantastic qualifying session from Pedro de la Rosa in the Opel, 9th place and a career best for both team and driver qualifying session, as Jacques Villeneuve completes the top 10. Juan Pablo Montoya, the lead Williams, not in the top 10. A massive shame for him in 11th, with Mark Webber joining him on row 6. Then comes 01 champion Alex Wurz alongside the second Opel of Timo Glock. Those upgrades look massively useful in their quest to possibly try and score points in the Grand Prix. Justin Wilson completes the top 15 ahead of Dan Wheldon, making it an all-British 8th row, with Antonio Pizzonia, Ralf Schumacher, Heidfeld and Sato, the 2 Brabhams and the 2 Hondas completing the top 20. A fairly poor qualifying session from Felipe Massa, with his teammate up in 12th. He's 9 places further back, alongside Jenson Button. Nicholas Manassin and Ralph Furman complete row 12, further back than where they were expecting to be, with Benoit Trellier 25th and Patrick Friesacker once again making it onto the grid. With Nakano, usual suspects Nakano and the 2 Minardis, but the biggest name out, Cristiano De Mata, 28th position, and a massive, massive blow for Jaguar.
Definitely, but my prediction earlier, before the start of the session, has come correct, as it seems, with Danmata getting knocked out during qualifying.
Yeah, what do you say? Sorry.
Probably more down to his own mistake, seeing as he could have opened a gap or left a gap to Mark Webber, but that's down to his problem then. The free sucker barely scraping through ahead of his teammate.
Join us in a few moments then for when we will get this race underway. I would like to say it is not Benjamin Wall commentating, it's Nils Hartl. The graphics are wrong, so just don't worry about that. Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay. Hello again. We are currently paused, so no cars going out on track. Took us a longer bit because the game started to duplicate either Michael or Juan Pablo Montoya, but here we are now. Yeah, so any predictions ahead of the race in terms of race winner, podium setter, whatever, or whoever destroys the most cars in turn 1? Leave them in chat. As Michael is the first one out on track to the grid. So 57 laps ahead of this race, with Nils Hartl starting from pole position ahead of Fernando Alonso, Rubens Barrichello, Michael Schumacher 2, and David Coulthard completing top 5. DC then Weldon podium, says Jeffrey. Jack says hopefully truly, but he will DNF now. Let's hope you didn't curse him then. Any other predictions? Maybe Benny or whoever. Okay. Oh, I will just call you Ren. I hope that's okay for you. You are rooting for Raikkonen. Fair shout. He is starting sixth, but could challenge the top 3, maybe for a potential podium. Question to the chat in general: are we seeing a potential Opel point with Pedro de la Rosa? Yes or no? Okay, Ren's fine. Good.
I think Sperafico is going to get a podium.
Sperafico podium?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, John Todd and Flavio Briatore says Alonso. Makes sense.
I think that's more Flavio talking than John Todd.
Yeah, that's Flavio talking.
Hang on 1 second.
Definitely turn 1. Definitely Jeffrey.
There we go. I hope everyone enjoyed my opening can ASMR. I don't know if I actually picked up on camera or not. That was
It
interesting.
picked up. That was a bottle of something.
Well, today's drink we've got KA Sparkling Black Grape flavour. I'm getting a bit sick of it because I may or may not have bought 20 cans of it at the supermarket.
Oh. Well, I have a bottle of Polana Spezi next to me, which is a mix of, well, it's Mezzo mix essentially, so a mix of cola and orange lemonade.
Lamb.
Don't forget Shumi, said John Todd. Okay, John Todd, you clearly don't know your personal, as it seems, because Michael is with McLaren. Sampras is rooting for Kimi Raikkonen as well. And stayed in Jaguar's shop. Yeah, he bought 20 candles. Yes. Satan has nothing. Sag.
Do you know who I think will win?
This man.
The driver that will cross the line first and pass scrutineering.
Oh, yeah.
I just make sure to say the past scrutineering bit, just so I don't curse whoever wins, then just ends up getting scrutinised and disqualified.
Definitely. As the final drivers are slowly getting in their grid slots. Who will be the wrecking ball in turn 1?
A Glock.
Glock, okay.
He ends up taking out Pedro de la Rosa into turn 1.
He's breaking into his teammate and using him as a some kind of device to get rid of everybody in front of him, a bowling ball or something like that.
Classic Daytona stuff, really.
Yeah, first record in 5 laps. Makes sense. As everybody should be on the grid if Pantano gets in his slot, I think.
No, someone else. A Red Bull. Probably Weber.
Weber then.
He got a Glock in his Opel.
Yeah,
17
he does.
shots, no 38. Now that's bars.
Crazy shit happening, yeah.
Come on, Mark.
Come on, park it
There
up.
we go.
There we go.
Right, let me just do that. Right. Without further ado, let's get the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix underway.
Hello there. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Trulli first. Alonso second. Barrichello third. The McLaren driver put on a fantastic display throughout the qualifying hour. He starts this race from a very promising fourth. David Coulthard fifth. Raikkonen couldn't quite match the pace of his teammate. He starts sixth.
Riccardo Sperrifico
Seventh. Giorgio Pantano eighth. De La Rosa, 9th. Jack Villeneuve, 10th. Juan Pablo Montoya, 11th. Mark Webber, 12th. Alexander Wurz, 13th. T. Moppo, 14th. Justin Wilson, 15th.
Dan Weldon
16th. Antonio Pizzonia, 17th. Schumacher, 18th. Heidfeld, 19th. Sato, 20th. Massa, 21st. Button, 22nd.
Nicolas Menaciron
23rd. Ralph Bergman, 24th.
And with Trellier and Friesaka making up the back row of the grid, it's time to go racing here in Bahrain. 57 laps ahead of the drivers for the third round of the championship. The lights are green, not for Trulli. He's going nowhere. Alonso leads. And down towards turn one, the Renault's going to take the lead. Further back, Michael Schumacher looking up the inside of Rubens Barrichello. Is he going to take second place? He is. He's going to bang his way through. Apologies. As Fernando Alonso leads ahead of Schumacher. Barrichello, Raikkonen is ahead of Giorgio Pantano with Coulthard, Villeneuve and Webber completing the points. A terrible start for Riccardo Sperrifico. Up the inside goes Giorgio Pantano on Kimi Raikkonen at turn 4. So it's a brilliant start for Renault. A terrible start for Jarno Trulli. 3 retirements and in 3 races. Unbelievable scenes as a driver who's made a lot of places up. I think Jenson Button's made up a number of places. He's now sandwiched between both the Williams cars. I
think multiple drivers might be missing a front wing, or all of them have survived the first.
There's Sato at the inside of Heidfeld for 21st. Can't find a way through.
Everybody is safe.
Fine.
So Alonso
hitting the front.
Michael. With Barrichello third, Panto fourth, Raikkonen 5th, Coulthard 6th, who's got been held up by the starting Jarno Trulli, Jack Villeneuve 7th, and Mark Webber up in 8th, with both Williams actually down the order.
Yeah, Vert's just getting past of Jenson Button into turn 11, so Button's good start already coming undone within the first lap. And now the customer team of the Dams Lola is now going to size up and move on the Works Fords team of Jaguar up the inside, possibly into the final corner. Button makes it absolutely easy for him to take his position. Further at the front, Schumacher's going for it. Up the inside of Fernando Alonso. Lead of this race could change here at the start of lap 2, and it has changed. Michael Schumacher takes the lead in the McLaren. A great start to the race. Yeah, so 2 McLarens getting past 2 Renaults at the start of lap 2, with Coulthard on a watching brief in 6th. So it is now Michael Schumacher that leads ahead of Alonso and Barrichello. Barrichello trying to keep tabs with the front 2, but it seems that they have got the advantage over the rest of the field. Michael Schumacher, one of the biggest gainers in terms of contextually. He's up 3 places, Furman up 9, and Friesacker up 7.
Friesacker once again with a great opening lap, as Pitsonia got past Button again for P17. Button now dropping back down the order. Ralf Schumacher also made up 6 positions in the first corner. Not really first corner mayhem, more the confusion being brought up by Jarno Trulli stalling.
We've actually missed that. Timo Glock's actually got the jump on his teammate Pedro de la Rosa for 10th position. They're both starting to slightly fall off the pace of Sperrifico and Webber ahead, but a good start for the 2 of them, both of them without damage. It's been a bit of a struggle for the 2 of them to get through the first couple of laps without damage, especially for Glock, who's actually taken damage in both of the opening 2 opening laps of the season. Up the inside of Pedro de la Rosa, sorry, that's Timo Glock being attacked by Pedro de la Rosa, side by side between the 2 Opels. As further ahead, there's Sperrifico trying to make an impact on Mark Webber, trying to look towards the inside for the final points place. Up the inside at turn 1, Sperrifico with the inside line. He's going to barge his way through and take that 8th position. Further back, De La Rosa's retaken his 10th position ahead of his teammate Timo Glock. Meanwhile, the 2 Williams have also swapped round for 13th.
Michael's already 1 second ahead of Fernando Alonso. Clearly the McLaren having more pace than the Renault at the current stage of the race, with Pantano also under threat by David Coulthard behind.
Coulthard has actually just overtaken him. We're going to replay of that one in a couple seconds, but Pantano, championship leader, not great for him right now, down in 6th place, but we have seen him. He's not really a driver that depends on pace, rather than keeping himself alive in races. So he'd already challenged for a move David Coulthard up the inside at turn 4. A little bit of contact between the Briton and the Italian. And as they made their way towards turn 8, a big lunge there from the Scotsman up the inside of Pantano. The Renault with not really much of a response there. And as such, Coulthard back up into the top 5.
Alexander Wirtz now getting past the 2003 world champion for P12. Now back behind both Opels as Ralph looks for a move again. Those 2 are not done fighting. As we head up the hill again, but as it currently stands, Wirtz having the upper hand between those 2 world champions, with Glock now under threat by both of them. Maybe already.
You can see the pace advantage, though, that the Opel has on the straights, and then all the time that's gained by the Williams through the brakes and through the corners. Wirtz is going to have to go for an unorthodox move here if he wants this place ahead of Glock, and then he's got to keep it, of course, and then try and challenge Pedro de la Rosa, pull away from the 2 of them, as Dan Weldon, we haven't actually seen much of him, but he's actually just gotten past his fellow countryman for 19th, I think it was. Yes. Heidfeld also getting through.
Yeah, Button seemingly being a standstill on the straights. Clearly
Justin
the Ford
Wilson
engine
overtaking Ralph Furman.
Clearly the Ford engine suffering big time now also during the race, but highest placed driver actually with a Ford engine is Ralph Furman in P16, barely behind Justin Wilson, with Michael already having 2.3 gap over Fernando Alonso, so the 5-time world champion clearly stamping his authority on this race.
And now Giorgio Pantano
falling under threat by Jacques Villeneuve. maybe on a heavy fuel load or just no confidence in the car after his practice incident.
Either way, it's looking pretty bleak for the championship leader now, with both Toyotas on the rear diffuser of that Renault car. He's going to be looking in his mirrors most certainly, as there goes Villeneuve looking for a move slightly up the inside, as Michael Schumacher setting the fastest lap. Raikkonen also looking to try and displace the Rubens Barrichello, that's right.
Rubens Barrichello.
To try and take both Ferraris out of contention to the top three, of course. Surely already out the race, and so far the only retirement as we head onto lap 5. As Glock has gotten past Pedro de la Rosa, can the Spaniard retaliate in towards turn 1? A great inter-team battle between the two of them, as Villeneuve has now overtaken Giorgio Pantano.
Yes, Justin Wilson also got past Juan Pablo Montoya, as well as Pit Sonia getting past Ralph Furman.
Side by side through as they enter the S's, the Toyota just having the advantage over the Renault in a straight line, as Pantano there looking towards the inside. Surely that's not going to work. He's made it almost stick there actually, alongside the 1997 champion, and through this technical second sector the Renault clearly has the massive advantage over the Toyota. No cigar though for Pantano, stays in 7th, and now he could possibly try and hold in the slipstream maybe of the Canadian in front of him. Further back we're seeing multiple places being exchanged, as Dan Weldon's just gotten past Patrick Friesacker for 18th position. There, Heidfeld looking for a move.
Not really seeing anybody really doing an overtake through turn 10, but as it seems, Friesacker is coordinating here a little bit of a train, as Montoya got overtaken by Antonio Pizzonia for P15, so clearly the Williams struggling big time around here.
So maybe a bit of frustration boiling over in the cockpit of that Colombian's car, and maybe now starting with a bit of head loss, making mistakes in the wake of other cars. Justin Wilson, a big send up the inside of the reigning champion Ralf Schumacher to try and get himself up to 13th place. Further ahead though, we see once again the two Opels battling for that top 10 position. Further back, Justin Wilson trying to get the advantage over Ralf Schumacher, does get the advantage over Ralf Schumacher, as Pedro de la Rosa once again dives it up the inside of Timo Glock. The Spaniard and the German going wheel to wheel, touching each other as they exit turn 3, the first complex of the circuit. And now Timo Glock's going to have a run back at him again, and Timo Glock's going to take that position, as is Alexander Wirtz, looking now towards the inside of Timo Glock. Can he make two overtakes in a single straight? It's going to be difficult for Alex Wirtz, but if he pulls it off, it'll be a fantastic move. Not quite, although Wirtz, a man on a mission it seems, as he tries to get past the Opels and try and make an indent at least on Mark Webber in front of him. Making contact with Timo Glock is now the Austrian. Side by side through turn 8, Glock just about pulls ahead, and through turn 9 and 10, Wirtz can't find a way through. Glock going defensive, and Wirtz is forced to yield. Hopefully for his sake he's not going to end up falling behind the greater straight line speed of Pedro de la Rosa behind him. But Alexander Wirtz now splitting the two Opels, so maybe they can start to calm down instead of battling each other so aggressively and losing time.
Wirtz clearly not having any of that, as he goes for another move and makes it stick. Wirtz having enough of the Opel's slow speed through the second sector, but now he will suffer again to the braking zone of turn 15, as Barrichello got past Alonso for second position up ahead.
He has indeed. We'll get a replay of that in a second. Barrichello up to second. Here goes Alonso straight back up the inside at turn 4. Can't find his way through, as now further back Alex Wirtz now under pressure from Timo Glock for 10th position. He's going to barge his way through as the German. The straight line speed advantage that the Opel possesses is massively harming the Williams BMW that he is currently battling, and it seems that Opel are a force to be reckoned with in a straight line once again, as there a simple move from Barrichello up the inside of Alonso at turn 1, and he now will try and push on to try and catch Michael Schumacher in the battle for the race lead.
As we are now watching Ricardo Sperifico, no, we switch back to Timo Glock, who is probably now again under threat by a dive bomb by Alexander Wirtz. There he comes, and Glock keeps the position with better traction out of the corner. Seemingly the power of the Opel giving him the edge under acceleration as well. To answer that question, Ren, yes, Opel are producing their engines starting this season themselves, so first time around they already got the horsepower right.
You're running first.
But now once again probably goes for a move down here. There he goes, up back into P10, but as we already saw last time round on the main straight, Timo Glock will have a run into turn 1.
Might even have a run into the final corner, braking later than Wirtz. The Austrian should get a better exit out the corner, and will that be enough of a gap? What's the gap? 7 tenths between the two of them. Surely that should not be enough to see Wirtz under threat here towards turn 1. Glock, though, is gaining, as Minassian has now just overtaken Jensen Button. The Brit now last place on the road. Up the inside for Glock, can't quite find his way through, and Wirtz holds on to that place just, and I mean only just, as he now should hopefully try and pull away from the pair behind him. Quite menacing, that yellow and blue machine, as Glock can't quite challenge him anymore. Has Webber just made a mistake, or has he just always been that close? I'm not entirely sure.
He's always been that close.
Fair enough. So Wirtz can now go and challenge the Red Bull of Mark Webber, which unfortunately is another car that's quite fast in a straight line.
Can't catch a break. Now, it will be interesting to see if anybody can follow Wirtz through ahead of the both Opels, but currently stance doesn't seem like it. Raikkonen and, well, Barrichello, Alonso, Raikkonen in the fight for P2 honors. Michael Schumacher's just putting fastest lap after fastest lap.
Meanwhile, out the back, Jensen Button had a fantastic start. He was up to 14th place, I think he was. He has since fallen all the way back down to 25th and last place. This has been a really dismal day for Jaguar, and it's, I imagine, well, it's only going to get worse, I imagine, as now Sato looking for a bit of a move on Patrick Friesaka in the battle for 22nd place. The Japanese driver's coming from a long way back there in the Honda, side by side out the final corner. Friesaka's just about going to get the outdrag the Japanese driver as they head over the start-finish line to start lap 9. Will Sato be able to make a move up the inside as there's contact? Someone's off down at turn 1. It's
Wilson, that's
Wilson.
Wilson.
Toyota. Try and get on board with them.
I feel like there was a collision between one of the Opels because the gap massively spiked up.
Let's see what happens.
Maybe Wilson doing a move. No.
It's
like
Glock making a move on Wirtz up the inside at turn 1. So Wirtz hadn't got away, and then what's happened to?
Here, though? Huh?
He just lost it over
he
the
got
curb.
loose. Yeah, he got loose over the curb.
And then tipped round by Pitsonia, having to back off the racing surface to try and rejoin safely. And that's going to be a massive shame for Justin Wilson, falling all the way down to last place. And a massive shame for the Rose Toyota crew, with Trellier now the lead car. Look at the amount of cars. Jam. Ralf Schumacher leading a train that falls all the way down to Jensen Button in second to last place. The only car who isn't in it is Justin Wilson, who's just had a spin. Wirtz has indeed just got past Webber down at turn 8. And now he moves up into 9th place. 13 seconds is now the gap between him and a points paying position in the form of Riccardo Sperrifico, who's actually dropped off the two ahead of him in the form of Giorgio Pansino and Jacques Villeneuve. The Canadian's kind of just left his teammate in the dust and got the Italian in tow as well. Gap at the front, meanwhile, 6.3 seconds at the end of 9 laps ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Fernando Alonso keeping the Brazilian honest as they head towards turn 1. Can't quite be close enough to make such a move. As once again the two Opels battling each other hammer and tongue for that 11th position now, as they've actually got a bit of breathing room behind them. I imagine that's going to cut out very quickly if they keep on battling with one another.
Definitely, as Ralph is already appearing in the background there with Montoya, Furman, Pizzonia, Heifeld, and Co. in tow. But if they are not careful, they might actually take each other out of the race, as already Glock nearly got damaged there early on with Wirtz, as Furman now on the inside of Pizzonia, tipping the Brazilian nearly round.
I think Pizzonia actually got past Furman there on the start-finish straight, so another Cosworth car losing out down the straights there as Montoya looks for a bit of a move there on Ralf Schumacher. Can't find his way through though, the Colombian, as he's, I imagine, with his teammate now shot off into the distance. He's going to be quite frustrated with this as they're up the inside again. Pedro de la Rosa up the inside of Timo Glock, side by side as they head into the tight turn 10 braking zone. De La Rosa, though, with the advantage as they head down towards the back straight.
You're running first.
Yes. As the gap ahead is increasing ever so slightly now, nearly 7 seconds, with Coulthard also joining in on the back of Kimi Räikkönen now for the potential fight of P2. It's safe to say that if Michael keeps on the pressure, he might actually pull out a pit stop gap if the German is pitting soon. We are now heading into turn 4. Alonso having a little look there on Rubens Barrichello, but nothing more of that.
Yeah, this race has quickly gone by. We're on lap 11 already, and I imagine for those that are possibly on a 3-stop strategy to be pitting within the next couple of laps, as Nicolas Minassian, another retirement for him at the end of lap 10. Suspension failure for the Dams Lola is going to see him out of the race once again. His second retirement in 3 races and the second retirement of the race.
As Furman has got overtaken by Nick Heifeld, as both Opels are once again fighting. I think also Antonio Pizzonia got past Montoya in all of that.
I think he did, you know. So it's been a fairly decent day for Brabham, as they are challenging a lot higher than where they have been in the opening 2 rounds of the season.
I mean, Heifeld was probably around the same position during the Malaysian Grand Prix before his inevitable retirement. Pizzonia has a look there on Ralf Schumacher, as they already have catched up back with Timo Glock and Pedro de la Rosa. So the train is back together. Pizzonia goes for a move here and makes it actually stick now of the 2003 world champion.
So the Brazilian really trying to prove his worth after falling quite out of favour with Nils after the first round, crashing with his teammate in the first round, but currently finds himself in 13th. Heidfeld not far behind at all in 16th position as the 2 Opels begin to battle once again, and as such it quickly is fetching Antonio Pizzonia into the frame, maybe out the final corner for Pizzonia. He's going to get the advantage on De La Rosa, maybe a problem out the final corner for the Spaniard. I'm not entirely sure, but he might have a move, try a move at not 1 but 2 Opels up the inside for the Brazilian on the German. Side by side, and the Brabham is going to come out ahead in the battle between the 3 of them, and Pizzonia moves up to 11th place. Can Glock retaliate as they head towards turn 4, or will the straight line speed eventually not be enough to overtake a car? It will be that case, and Pizzonia will try and pull away into the distance, try and catch up to Mark Webber, who's 5 seconds up the road.
Problem for Timo Glock there was that the engine in the back of the Brabham is also quite powerful, only being 4 kilometers per hour down on the power of, or down on the Opel. As Heifeld also got past Montoya, now up in P15 with Dan Weldon and Ralf Furman, the first ones to pit. So not a good day for both of them, seeing as they're stuck in 17th and 18th with a 3-stop strategy.
Yeah, Ren believes that the Opels are going to take each other out before the finish, and I can't lie, I have to agree with that statement. Yes. It's been very nip and tuck between Glock and De La Rosa, and I imagine Jacques Tractif, for what hair he has left, will be pulling it out of his head as Dams Lola ready in the pits to service Ralf Furman in 17th position.
I mean, We say that, but Glock now has a 1.7 gap on De La Rosa because De La Rosa seemingly had some problems down the main straight, with Glock now in the toe of Antonio Pizzonia, maybe looking for a move down in T1. Nick Heifeld is lining up. Ralf Schumacher actually goes ahead of his compatriot.
Indeed, down at turn 1, a simple move. We're seeing a lot of overtakes down there at turn 1 and a lot of overtakes in general at this circuit. It's really proving to be quite a spectacle to watch racing here. The first ever race in the Middle East. And it's been an enjoyable one so far as we reach quarter race distance nearly. David Coulthard into the box at the end of this lap. He's had a good first stint so far, but maybe that's been the cracks have been papered over by the Scotsman's light fuel load, suggesting he's possibly on a three-stop strategy. Michael Schumacher now into the 136s in his lap pace. 9 seconds now ahead of the Brazilian of Rubens Barrichello, Alonso and his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. There's a BAR crew also there in the pits.
That's for Weldon.
Yeah, that should be Weldon. We got a bit of a glitch with the pits, so not all the teammates usually share their pit boxes with who their teammates are supposed to be. Either way, for Coulthard, it should be fairly clear that he's rejoining into a 9-second stop for the Scotsman, and he should rejoin just ahead of Alexander Wurz in the points, most crucially for the Scotsman. There he is down at the apex of turn 1, and he has indeed rejoined in 8th position, so a good chance at points for David Coulthard in this race.
Yes, as Pedro de la Rosa is now under threat from the second Brabham of Nick Heidfeld, actually down in T1 as we go there, and Heidfeld gets past the Opel.
And it seems like the Opel is proving to be quite characteristically a qualifying car compared to a race car, as we've often seen him, well, especially in this race. Pedro de la Rosa qualified up in 9th. Not quite having a great start, lost a couple of places, but he's really started to fall back following the first stint of this race. Toyota ready in the pits.
That's
Not exactly
Villeneuve.
sure. Yeah, that is for Villeneuve. So maybe that's why he is faster than Giorgio Pantano, or rather relative pace to the championship leader. Michael Schumacher told to keep care of his tyres, of course, as he's massively pushing at this stage of the race, pulling out a decent gap ahead of the rest of the field, producing lap after lap after lap that's purple, as Sperrifico will move ahead of his teammate Jacques Villeneuve. We'll see where the Canadian will rejoin in comparison to his rivals.
Rose Motorsport.
Probably around
Already in the pits.
4 seconds maybe behind Alexander Wurz.
Well, Wurz has already headed down the main straight, and now Villeneuve will exit the pit lane in 9th position, in quite a bit of clean air there, between Wurz and Weber. Yep, Wurz, Villeneuve and Weber. We've got all the V's, as now we've got a pit stop battle between Honda and Rose Toyota. Japanese manufacturers, engine manufacturers at least, battling in the pit lane after the first stint. We'll see who comes out on top.
As next up also in the pits should be Kimi Raikkonen, interestingly enough the first one of the both McLarens told to box.
And a slightly better stop there from Benoit Chully is going to fetch him out ahead of Takuma Sato. So a good run for him there, as Ralph Furman is going to be close to Takuma Sato but not get the jump on him. He's been overcut there by the Japanese driver, and it's been a fairly poor start to the race for Dams Lola.
It's stuck in second gear.
Oh, somebody's stuck in gear.
And that's Riccardo Sperrifico. Another gearbox failure, as there was in Malaysia, is going to take the Toyota driver out the running. My prediction of a Sperrifico podium ending on lap 16, and he's going to peel it into the box now, with only Jacques Villeneuve the hope of scoring points for the Japanese outfit.
That elevates Villeneuve directly back into the points. Did Weber box? Yeah, Weber box, right? Yeah.
I don't
So-
think so. Oh yeah, he has boxed. Sorry.
Yeah,
So now he's
wasn't
stuck behind
Timo
Timo
Glock.
Glock. The two fastest cars on the grid arguably have been the Opel and the Red Bull so far in this opening part of the season. So the battle between these two, it's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object in that sense for 10th position. As they're further back,
Yes,
Pedro de la
De La
Rosa
Rosa
getting
on
all
the
wild
spun.
on the rear, nearly making contact there with Nick Heidfeld. Heidfeld keeping the place for now in 12th position, but he's losing time with the Spaniard constantly attacking him.
They're also seemingly being good around here for one lap, but
You're
not
running first.
17 consecutive laps.
John, you've just set the fastest
As
lap of the race.
the race is slowly getting into its own rhythm as Benoit.
Benoit Trellier.
Where is he?
Oh, he's down at turn 1.
Oh.
And it looks like a fairly big crash for the Frenchman. Maybe a brake failure for the Rose Toyota. Either way, he's going to be the 4th retirement of this Grand Prix. We'll get a replay of what's just happened with Trellier as he headed
Seemingly
down the
looks-
main straight.
Seemingly looks like a brake failure. Yeah, engine off.
Almost identical to the crash that Giorgio Pantano had down there at turn 1. He should be fine from that crash, but a massive shame for him as with Wilson spinning
Benoit
round
Trellier.
at the start of the race, and now Trellier out the race. It's going to be a bit difficult for either, well, definitely one car at least, to get a good result in this race.
Like there was a call for Williams being ready in the pits,
Already in the pits.
as well as Brabham. That explains Pitsonia's pace probably. As Alonso is still 6 tenths behind Barrichello, as Alexander Wurz is the Williams told to box. Probably on it. Stop already.
Hello Kyo and Nemo. Hope your days have gone well. I saw that you were doing the Daytona 20... Why do I keep saying Daytona 24?
500.
The Daytona 500 Kyo on iRacing. How did that go? Hope that went well for you. 8-second stop there for Alexander Wurz. Going to fetch him out quite a bit of traffic, has to be said. As this 15th place, directly ahead of his former teammate Justin Wilson, when Wilson deputised for Montoya for a couple of races in 2002.
Yes. As Pitsonia rejoins behind Jensen Button,
You're running
down in 19th. But directly behind the Jaguars should be easy pickings considering the lack of top speed for the Briton. As I was already stating that the race seemingly has set into a rhythm now with the first round of pit stops completed. Seeing as gaps have been opened up with Barrichello Alonso probably the most interesting in terms of actual points paying position, and as De La Rosa forces his way through on Nick Heidfeld again, with Timo Glock currently running in 8th position ahead of Mark Webber.
Maybe this overcut could possibly work for him, keeping Mark Webber behind while on fresh tyres and on maybe a faster fuel load than the German. Although Mark Webber's going to try it up the inside at the final corner. No cigar though for Mark Webber as he stays in 10th place for now, as Michael Schumacher's been told that he'll be into the box shortly. So we're now around 1/3 race distance, so we have to assume maybe a 2-stop for the McLaren man.
Depends
Button,
on...
as you said, overtaken by Pitsonia fairly simply, I believe, down at the final corner rather than at the usual place at turn 1, and that's for 18th place.
Michael should be around... should come out behind Fernando Alonso in P3
40 laps.
if he stops next lap. But if the stop is around 8 to 9 seconds, it's definitely a 2-stop. Seeing as we are now on lap 19 of 57. As Mark Webber now got past Timo Glock.
He was down at turn 8. And as they head towards turn 10, Webber should be able to hold on to that one. As we see straight line speed graph there, we'll take a longer look at that actually. The Opel is 315, which is quite considerably more than most other teams. The Brabham seems actually pretty fast in a straight line around this circuit, as well as the Red Bull.
We have to take those numbers with a pinch of salt, seeing as they are all closely bunched up behind each other. So top speed will be a bit higher because of the slipstream effect. Steam Glock now with a dive down the inside, but not even close enough to even get near at the apex.
But there's a pattern forming here. I don't know if you've realised that all three drivers that have not yet hit 300 kilometers an hour in this race, all powered by the Ford Cosworth engine.
Definitely, with seemingly the customer Ford engine actually being faster in the hands of Ralph Furman. Felipe Massa now overtook Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya's race really down the drain, as it seems.
Schumacher into the box at
Schumacher.
the end of lap 19. That's exactly 1/3 race distance, and as such, Rubens Barrichello will promptly take the lead of this one, ahead of Fernando Alonso by just over half a second. Despite the gap between the two, Alonso's not really been trying any moves on the Brazilian. Maybe he's assuming that he's on a that himself is on a heavier fuel load than the Ferrari ahead of him. But now lap traffic now playing a part in this Grand Prix. Alonso
There we get the
and
confirmation.
Barrichello quickly. Barrichello pitting within the next couple of laps as Michael Schumacher re-emerges 12 seconds behind the race lead. Massa's just gotten past Ralf Schumacher for 12th position in the meanwhile, as Opel will be ready to service Timo Glock, we all assume, to be into the pits at the end of this lap. Either way, he's going to make Mark Webber's day slightly worse, or not. He's not going to go for the overtake, as Alonso, right as I said, he hasn't. Yeah, as I said, he has not been looking for any moves on Rubens Barrichello. We've seen a change in the lead, or will it be changing straight back? Barrichello side by side with Fernando Alonso through the fast left-right of turns 12 and 13. Alonso, though, holds onto it and is a new race leader in this Grand Prix. We'll take a closer look at that one and see how that one was performed by the Spaniard.
Maybe the Brazilian bit hesitant into the braking zone, then Alonso more confident down.
Oh, it's a lock-up from
Barrichello made a
Barrichello.
mistake.
A very rare mistake there from Rubens Barrichello. Sees him fall foul to his former teammates, and as such, Fernando Alonso has taken the lead here in Bahrain. As we now head onto, towards the back of more lap traffic. That's Dan Weldon and Takuma Sato, 21st and 22nd in this race. Weldon not having a good race at all in this one. A former shadow, a shadow of his former self in the previous two races, has to be said, as Alonso defending that inside line, and rightfully so.
As Massa got past Pedro de la Rosa, Timo Glock in the meantime has come out behind Jensen Button, losing a lot of time now with that. As
I do actually want to keep an eye on this, because I want to see how much of an overspeed Glock has on Button when he overtakes.
That's interesting to see, yes. As Pedro de la Rosa slowly being dropped there also by Felipe Massa now. With Massa up into 10th position. But it will be also interesting to see when Fernando Alonso pits. With the Spaniard now 1 second ahead of the Brazilian.
Oh,
So
and they're
just
up the
Wilson on
inside.
move
That's
on-
Justin Wilson on Alexander Wirtz. I think both of them have stopped in this Grand Prix already, so this is for pure pace between the two of them.
Rose,
Benoit Trellier had a brake
yeah.
failure in towards turn 1 and went straight
might
on
see
into
his
the
car.
barriers. Oh, Webber round at the first corner. That's allowed Heidfeld
think
into the
what-
points, and now the two Red Bulls
Oh,
are battling each other for 9th place. We'll get a quick replay on that one.
Heifeld actually got past ahead of the braking zone already. I feel like Webber maybe made a move down in turn 1 and got loose like Justin Wilson did earlier. As now the Lamborghini powered Red Bull pulls out of the slipstream. And as I thought, the Australian dives down the inside and just gets loose on the curb. Doesn't lose all too much, seeing how that could have ended.
Well, we're seeing a bit of a repetition here from what happened in Malaysia with Mark Webber having a little bit of a spin down at turn 1, but this case it's he's while battling another car.
Glock pitted, so it's all fine. Nothing major happened. As Barrichello is now serviced. At 9 seconds stop, should see him around
Raikkonen or Coulthard,
yeah, Raikkonen, between Raikkonen and Coulthard probably. Maybe just ahead. No, Raikkonen will get him with the momentum he has. Well, actually doesn't.
So Raikkonen behind Barrichello in that battle, so he has not been able to prove an undercut. Nearly did though, surprisingly. Maybe a bit of lap traffic for Barrichello, a bit more lap traffic for Barrichello compared to the Finn, playing havoc to his end of his first stint. As there goes Raikkonen trying to get a move done on the Brazilian, can't quite find a way through though.
Massa got past his teammate though into the final corner just before the final corner. Now those two are fighting. Maybe Webber makes another mistake, as in the background there Justin Wilson peels off into the pits for his first pit stop of this race, as Webber now down the inside of the Brazilian. Don't spin yourself round again. Nearly does. Side by side still though, the two Red Bulls, but Massa keeps the upper hand on his more experienced teammate.
Not the inside again for the Australian. Can't quite find a way through though down at turn 4. It seems that a lot of the drivers are trying to get a bit of a retaliation down at turn 4, but nothing really happening for most drivers. Kimi Raikkonen still stuck behind. I thought that was going to be Alonso retiring.
Yeah,
I can't lie.
Stuck in first gear or something like that.
Raikkonen still stuck behind the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello after both of them have served their pit stops. The only driver currently in the top 5 has not said a pit stop is Giorgio Pantano. As Montoya has actually just overtaken Pedro de la Rosa for 11th, so the potency of the straight line speed of the Opel seems to be wearing off ever so slightly, with more and more cars being able to adapt to actually be able to overtake the Opel, seeing that they're pretty atrocious compared to their straight line speed in the middle sector. It seems that a lot of overtakes are getting done there on the yellow and blue cars.
Ralf Schumacher now next up for a potential move on Pedro de la Rosa, but
sorry, it's quite close between Raikkonen and Barrichello, as Raikkonen challenging up the inside at turn 8. Can't quite find his way through, but Raikkonen really putting Barrichello under pressure. Can he possibly cause him to make a mistake? Raikkonen almost wayward there through turn 10. He's got to lose a little bit of time as such, but Barrichello has certainly got to be watching his mirrors for Kimi Raikkonen, launching a dive bomb up the inside possibly, as Pedro de la Rosa off at turn 1. He's lost a couple of places there. He's rejoined down in 14th, but we'll see how that plays out. Oh no, Alonso hasn't pitted, sorry. I forgot about that. So neither Renault has actually pit so far in this race. Pedro de la Rosa looking for a move there on Juan Pablo Montoya's Williams. And similar to Mark Webber, making a bit of a hash of it, half spin for the Spaniard. And he's going to rejoin a couple places lower than where he was. 14th place now for the Opel team. A big relief for the drivers that have just
everybody behind.
Wirtz and Ralf Schumacher. Both. Oh,
Alonso's out! Alonso!
A big crash for Fernando Alonso.
Oh no. I have a suspicion what happened.
Alonso wasn't scheduled to box, was he?
I feel like I saw the Renault pit crew though.
Oh,
yes, he was.
Oh, dear me.
Oh. Who was it?
Oh.
Oh, it's Wilson. Oh. Yeah, he's out as well. Well, that elevates Felipe Massa into the
fuck.
points as oh fuck.
Oh, I did not hear the Renault call at all.
There was no Renault call. That's the thing. I just saw the pit crew.
Oh, and Wilson
whoa.
rejoins in front of
Yeah.
Sato as well.
Oh god.
Oh, dear me. So, Sato, Wilson, and Alonso all out down the main straight. It's put a massive change in the implications of this race, with Michael Schumacher now leading ahead of Pansino and Raikkonen. A massive switch. Raikkonen actually just getting past Barrichello for third position, so a good move there for the Finn, but will he be able to hold it down towards turn 4? Side by side between the two of them at turn 4.
McLaren
Can't
has
quite get
better
it fully
pull,
through
though.
though is Barrichello. He's going to look towards the inside, nearly making contact there with Raikkonen. I'm so annoyed that I did not hear a Renault pit call.
Yeah.
So the people that don't know, there is a glitch in this game where if someone is actively coming into the pit lane and you go into the replay, they will back out of that move, as there's Barrichello trying to get a move done on Ricciardo Zonta style, and Barrichello actually getting back through on Kimi Raikkonen. So yeah, when you press replay as someone's actively coming into the pits, they will back out and then drive onto the racing line and stop, as you've just seen. So that's what's
Rose
happened with
Motorsport.
Alonso.
Already in the pits.
Normally
No
you hear
replays
a
now.
radio call like that one right there.
Running first.
Did not hear that. I don't think there was one.
I feel like the race engineer just came back at us, so
Well,
in the
we're up
meantime
to,
Felipe Massa
7 retirements in this race now.
Felipe Massa got past Nick Heidfeld for P7.
I tell you what, this
Whether
greatly increases Brabham's chances of actually scoring a point in this race, with Heidfeld
Oh, definitely.
into the points once again.
Seeing as Webber also already pitted and is now behind Heidfeld, there could be a chance for potential points paying position for Nick Heidfeld. He has not pitted yet. I think Massa is also not into the box yet.
We'll give it a check. It is the only drivers to not make a pit stop. Actually, a lot
Webber
of drivers.
wasn't.
Pansino, Massa, Heidfeld, Webber, Montoya, down in 10th place, still not made a pit stop yet. Ralf Schumacher, Pedro de la Rosa, Patrick Friesacker, and Jenson Button. A lot of drivers, about half the grid remaining, still to have made their first stop of this race. I imagine those that are on a 3-stop strategy will be in within the next couple of laps.
I will give actually a prediction or a statement of if the current retirement rate keeps up, we might actually see Friesacker in the top 10.
Unless he's part of that retirement rate, then obviously
Yes.
not.
but he's once again keeping out of trouble with his backup in P15. I mean, of course, down to chaos around him, but beforehand he was P20 or something like that. So seemingly the boot's a better race car than the qualifying car compared to what the Opel is currently, seeing as those are rapid in qualifying. So Raikkonen once again looks for a move there on aggressively on Barrichello, jumping over the sausage curb there on the inside of turn 1, with both of them behind Giorgio Pantano.
And it seems like the two of them have actually been slowly catching up to the Italian despite their battling. They've actually had much better pace, and if the Renault is actually on a 1-stop, then this could be quite the interesting fight for second place in this Grand Prix. It's almost certain that, barring a mechanical failure for Michael Schumacher, there we go, he's definitely going to get one now, he should be able to clinch his first victory of the season.
Definitely, as would be interesting to see. Pantano seemingly having no pace at the moment. He probably is like fueled up to lap 34, something like that. Seeing how he's struggling with pace, or it's also him, not, as already stated, with his practice incident with the brake failure into turn 1, still not having any confidence back in the car, as Dan Weldon is now called into the pits again.
No, that's Coulthard. That was Coulthard and Pantano both scheduled to box at the end of this lap. So there's going to be a straight fight between Barrichello and Raikkonen, at least within the coming laps, for second place in this race. Pantano into the box, and it will be fairly close between him and I imagine Jacques Villeneuve in 6th position on who will rejoin in front.
There's also the Red Bull pit crew ready, so either Massa or Webber told to stop. Could also be quite interesting to see compared to Nick Heidfeld, Montoya and Ralf Schumacher, who are all like in the ballpark for points. Villeneuve is
up to 4th.
Quite a big gap actually on Giorgio Pantano, and 11 seconds isn't that much. Currently, as Ralph Furman is told to box. It's Massa actually. So Massa, the first of the 2 Red Bulls to stop at this time.
That promotes
Depending how long that stop is. Depending how long that stop is, he will go to the end, as next up will be one of the Hondas again, which can only be Ralf Schumacher. 11 seconds, 12 seconds should be the norm, and it is 12.4 seconds, so he's fueled up till the end.
There's Pitsonia coming down the main straight in 14th, make that 13th as he overtakes his countryman in the pit lane. Massa then going to the end of this race and is just under a lap away, or rather just under a lap from the race leader, about to get lapped. There's Michael Schumacher in the back of your picture.
Yes,
Alonso did DNF with a crash on the main straight with Wilson and Sato. It was may or may not have been caused by a glitch in the game, but we shall move onwards. Either way, Raikkonen looking for another move on Rubens Barrichello. No fruit bearing for him though. It's looking good though for McLaren. Double podium chance here, especially with at least one Renault and one Ferrari out of... sorry. What the hell's just happened? There we go. Strange. As there, Coulthard side by side with Pantano for 5th position. Pantano is defending this position from the Scotsman, and now Coulthard's going to look towards the inside at turn 1, and he's going to gain that position on the championship leader. Coulthard up to 5th position, although I think he needs to make 1, maybe 2 more stops in this Grand Prix.
Stop again.
Oh no, he's stopped twice already, hasn't he, Coulthard? So he's only got 1 more stop to go in this race. Heidfeld into the box at the end of lap 28, so halfway through this Grand Prix. This should surely be a 1-stop strategy, or this would be a very wonky looking 2-stop. 10.1 seconds seems quite fast for a 1-stop, but if it is, then that's a very good stop for the Brabham crew. His teammate Antonio Pizzoni now coming down the main straight, and I think Heidfeld should be able to rejoin in 12th position. He does just that.
Depending now on if Pitsonia is getting past his teammate again, he has to stop again. Pitsonia on a 2-stop compared to his teammate, but there goes Raikkonen.
Once again going for the undercut on Rubens Barrichello. It happened in the first stint, and maybe with possible lap cars up in front. There's only one noticeable one that I can see on the mini-map. Raikkonen with a good stop could possibly be challenging for 2nd place in this race, but of course if he rejoins behind Jacques Villeneuve, never mind, Jacques Villeneuve's also into the pits. So David Coulthard and Giorgio Pantano now coming down the main straight, and Raikkonen should beat them both to the punch. 3rd place rejoin for the young Finn.
He is also slowly approaching another lap car as well, but has a healthy gap towards that one. Seeing as the the undercut nearly paid off earlier in the race already on Barrichello. He might actually have the upper hand now on the Brazilian, depending how long Barrichello can overlap his stop with Raikkonen. Ralf Schumacher now into the pits, elevating Montoya into the points paying position. 11.7 seconds
in this race,
Down
so
slower.
Already in the pits.
it's not looking likely that the Williams boys will, or either one of them, will score any points today as Ralf Schumacher rejoins behind both Brabhams. It'll be close between him and Massa in the Red Bull, though the 2003 champion should rejoin in 13th position.
Having jumped Felipe Massa actually. So Ralph might be on for a first point this season.
He's going to have his work cut out for him, especially with the points-paying positions almost 30 seconds up the road, as they're the two Brabhams side by side through the S section. We haven't seen much battling through here, but Pizzonia's forcing the issue once again. It's not the first time that we've seen the Brabhams come to blows, and Pizzonia, a bit of a spin there, a bit of heart-in-mouth moment for team boss Nils Hartl, I imagine, as Pizzonia there getting past Nick Heidfeld for 11th place, as Michael Schumacher now getting involved in lapping the pair of them.
I mean, Pizzonia, as already stated, is on a two-stop strategy, but that doesn't help Heidfeld in his quest to maybe get 1 point for the team, as Button is now into the pits. Somehow in P15. Probably down to him not pitting yet, but Mark Webber now into the pits. That could actually prove quite fruitful for the Australians, seeing as both Brabhams have held themselves up. Pretty down on the ground again of the Jacks, but 11.5 seconds, quite a long stop comparing to other cars around him. He has made the jump though on Nick Heidfeld, rejoining just behind Michael Schumacher, no, just in front of him. Now letting him through.
So Webber rejoining in 10th place, now a lap down, and he's looking for his first points of the season. He's not scored actually any points since 2002, where he picked up a pair of 7th place finishes for Renault when Rubens Barrichello was injured, and he deputised for him after moving from Dams to Renault for those couple of races. The gap though extending between Kimi Raikkonen and Rubens Barrichello, 26 seconds now between the two of them. I think Barrichello has got this one in the bag, barring that he doesn't have any traffic or make any mistakes like he has done previously, as Pedro de la Rosa will be into the box at the end of this lap.
Spaniard now scheduled for his first stop. Yeah, first stop. Having been somewhat quieter now with no cars around him. Now let's see how fast the Opel boys can be. Stopping on his marks.
You're running first.
As Pizzonia got past Mark Webber for P10. 9.5 seconds, really good stop, but sees him tumble down the order around Felipe Massa.
Going to be close between him and Jensen Button, I think. He should,
No, he should have it.
Of the Briton, as now we see Mark Webber trying to hold on to Nick against Nick Heidfeld. So the Australians lost a lot of time on that heavy fuel load, and the Brabhams are taking advantage. Up the inside goes Heidfeld of Mark Webber, side by side as they head towards the S section. Heidfeld might back out of this one, or he might just keep his nose just about in it. He's going to be side by side still with the Australian. He pulls just ahead the Red Bull and keeps that place for now, but Webber massively under pressure and losing a number of places. Ralf Schumacher also on a watching brief on trying to get through on the pair of them possibly.
Yet to stop is Juan Pablo Montoya and Alexander
Heidfeld has gotten
Wurz.
through past Mark
Yeah,
Webber.
turn again.
So the Australian now losing out to the Brabham Mercedes, as Nick Heidfeld just about holding on there through turn 11, and he can now press on and carry on with his strategy. It's looking good though for Brabham. It seems like it's going to be, strangely enough, a battle between Brabham and Williams for the points is my guess in this race, as Jenson Button told to box at the end of the lap.
As Wirtz also, I think Wirtz still needs to pit again as well, as Michael puts out another fastest lap, but at the front of 25 seconds split Barrichello and Raikkonen. That should be enough for the Brazilian to still come out ahead of Raikkonen, bar any intervention by Pedro Della Rosa, who could be...
And right as Auer was talking about Williams and Brabham battling for the points, Williams is out. Suspension failure for Juan Pablo Montoya is going to make the Brabham's life a hell of a lot easier in this race. Pizzoni is promoted up into the points, as we have now seen the 8th retirement of this Grand Prix.
As I was trying to make the point that Rubens Barrichello should have enough of a gap now to come out ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, with the Brazilian still extending his second stop, but Pedro Della Rosa could be a deciding factor, proving difficult to overtake with that Opel engine. Could come down to this with the Brazilian and Spaniard now.
I will say the gap has been diminishing though between Kimi Raikkonen and Rubens Barrichello. It was 25, now 20. Was 26, now 25 seconds, and now I imagine that Barrichello is going to lose a little bit more time dispatching of the Spaniard of Pedro de la Rosa, who's currently up in 13th position. And will he be into the box at the end of this lap? No, he's staying out again, so he's trying to get as many laps out of this fuel load as he possibly can. Michael Schumacher, though, very comfortable at the front, still setting fastest lap after fastest lap, and it's looking good for the 5-time world champion.
As he is asked if he can even go quicker, and he might as well try, as the gap has not really come down between Raikkonen and Barrichello following that lap traffic, because Raikkonen seemingly had traffic as well with Jenson Button in the background. So both runners for P2 and P3 being somewhat compromised by lap traffic, as next up into the pits is actually Alexander Wirtz from P7.
Truly is indeed having a mare. He's stalled on the grid. If you missed that, Chris, hello, welcome in. Hope that your day's gone well.
Yeah, once again starting from pole position and then having not even 1 kilometer, 1 meter actually during this race, so his championship campaign really down the drain.
Truly, that is indeed 3 retirements from the opening 3 rounds for Jarno Trulli.
And not once down to his own doing, seeing as Australia he was caught up in Sarto's mare, and in Malaysia the gearbox went. Yeah, it was literally the start of the race. So if you missed the start, you missed the DNF. Barrichello now lapped, I think it was Felipe Massa for in P12, yeah it was, so
yeah,
the
gap's come down slightly, 24.5 seconds now between the two of them. And if Barrichello stays out much longer, he might fall under a bit of issue with the cars in front of him. That's Schumacher, Webber and Heidfeld, the group of 3 in front of him. Ralph Schumacher, that is, I should say.
Really depends now how long his stop will be, seeing as he clocks down even more laps.
So I think we're expecting... I don't know if Raikkonen actually has to stop again.
I don't think so.
Not entirely
like,
sure. But,
I feel like Raikkonen is safe till the end.
let me check his strategy again. He's on a 2-stop. And he last stopped 6 laps ago. He's on a 3-stop,
yeah.
Okay. So I feel like this battle between Barrichello and Raikkonen is going to be all for nothing, pretty much.
That's now into the box.
He's now lapping Ralf Schumacher there. Wirtz into the box from P7. This could be...
should be fine. He's fine.
Yeah, he should be fairly clear of the two Brabhams in Pitsonia and Heidfeld. Though
This long second stop for the Austrian
You're running third.
paying quite well.
Well done, you've just set the fastest lap.
yeah,
of the race.
he's looking fairly comfortable for 3 points finishes in the opening 3 rounds. He scored a 6th place in Australia, a 7th in Malaysia, and he's looking like another 7th place in Bahrain, but it's certainly not where Williams want to be, picking up the odd point here and there.
He's now also lapped with Michael Schumacher going into lap 36 of the race. With only the top 6 on the lead lap, with Jacques Villeneuve, Coulthard expected to pit again, I think.
Raikkonen's expected to pit again, as is Barrichello. The only... I think... Who's...
Pantano and Barrichello are the only ones that are not pitting again.
No, Barrichello's
Well,
stopping again as well.
Yeah, Barrichello's... Yeah.
Pantano's the only one not expected to box again. So actually, this could be quite close between Coulthard and Pantano for 4th place if Coulthard doesn't start putting the hammer down. Gap between them two is 17.5 seconds. So he needs to pull out maybe 5 to 7 more seconds ahead of the Italian to have any chance of rejoining still in the position that he is. That is in 4th place. Michael Schumacher going to be into the box at the end of this lap, and it actually could be pretty close. Oh, Schumacher's off! Unbelievable! A brake failure at the final corner on lap 36, and another retirement from a promising race-winning position.
Oh, God.
Sees Michael Schumacher retire. Unbelievable scenes. This race is blown wide open with Barrichello now leading.
You cursed him.
I did curse him. Again.
This could be Barrichello's 2nd race win?
In his career, this would be his 4th race win, and his first race win since 1999.
Oh, he won it. Okay, never mind. I thought he
Yeah,
only won once.
No,
okay,
he
never
won
mind.
3 times for Stewart in 1999. Yeah, that actually elevates David Coulthard onto the podium. Oh, massive shame for Michael Schumacher there. He'll be kicking
another
himself.
brake failure.
He had a suspension failure in
failure
Malaysia, I believe.
No, I meant like at this track. Like it's the 3rd brake failure or 4th brake failure we've seen this weekend.
Well, I did mention in qualifying, a lot of heavy braking zones is going to put a lot of stress on the on the brakes, and clearly so for Michael Schumacher out with 19 laps to go.
This actually puts Wirtz, Pitsonia back on the lead lap. Actually, multiple drivers back on the lead lap.
Actually puts Heidfeld into the points as well, currently.
Yes.
And I think if Heidfeld's going to the end, this could be maybe... I'm not going to say it, actually. I'll end up cursing someone else. But you know what I'm going to say.
Yes. As the gap between Barrichello and Raikkonen comes down even more currently, with the gap now being 23.5 seconds, essentially.
Schumacher retired from 3rd place in Malaysia, but Pantano was yet to stop, and he was only a second off Alonso in 2nd. So, yeah, a possible race-winning position in Malaysia, an almost certain race-winning position in Bahrain, sees Michael Schumacher retire from 2 consecutive races. 17 drivers left in this race, so 9 retirements so far in this one, as the top 8 is as such. Barrichello leads by 23 seconds ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. He's soon to box, maybe within the next couple of laps. David Coulthard completes the top 3 and is looking to try and overcut Giorgio Pantano. He's done a good job of it so far. Gap is now 20.5 seconds, 21 seconds to the Italian in 4th place. Jacques Villeneuve, a quiet race again in the Toyota. His teammate showed massive promise actually in qualifying with a 7th place in the hour-long session. Alex Wirtz another driver that's gone under the radar. He's up in 6th place, followed by the two Brabhams of Pitsonia and Heidfeld, the two of them just going a lap down on Rubens Barrichello. Then comes Webber and Ralf Schumacher, completing the top 10. Massa in 11th, De La Rosa 12th, Glock 13th, Button 14th, then followed by Weldon, who's having a very surprisingly poor race in the second BAR, and then the two at the back actually battling for position right now. Freestack is 16th ahead of Ralph Furman. Yeah, this is the first ever race at Bahrain, and I can't lie, it's giving us quite the race indeed. As
Quite a banger.
gap between Coulthard and Pantano, 23 seconds. So
The gap between Villeneuve and Pantano, though, is interesting.
2
As
seconds
Villeneuve
between the two of them.
is catching up with the Italians, so maybe Pantano needs to look for what the Canadian brings, but Villeneuve needs to box again for a third time. But
Yes.
Villeneuve's return to F1 needs to be definitely acknowledged, seeing as he left the sport quite on a disgruntled note and came back with completely different cars and already is back on pace with the leaders.
Weldon has just overtaken Jensen Button for 14th place, and Button realises that he is absolutely no match for the BAR. And rightfully so, really.
Well, we never come back, less power tracks. Well, where are we heading next time? Which
I believe the
track is
fourth
next?
race of the season is the French Grand Prix at Manicourt.
So no power track for you, then.
Still quite a few long straights on there, but a lot more technical and a lot more downforce dependent is the Manicourt circuit. That stream should be next Sunday at 6 PM, so make sure to stay tuned for that.
Into the pits.
Lap 39 then for Rubens Barrichello as he now enters the pit lane for what we assume to be the second and final time, and it could be a battle between him and Raikkonen on pit exit, though Raikkonen is expected to pit before the end of this race, so it's actually looking like a first Rubens Barrichello victory in 5 seasons, which will be a lovely sight to see for the Brazilian. Raikkonen, though, powering his way down the start-finish straight, and as such takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We've had... how many leaders have we had so far? If you include Jarno Trulli, I think it's 5 race leaders so far in this Grand Prix.
Alonso, Raikkonen, Barrichello, Michael, and Trulli, yeah. So, those were the 5. As Timo Glock is told to box for the second time of this race. It's probably the closest battle currently is for the last points paying position between Heidfeld, Webber and Ralf Schumacher.
It seems that the early potential of an Opel point has certainly fizzled out as the race has gone on. It seems that that car has really struggled on a long run pace compared to its qualifying spec, as Pitsonia into the box at the end of this lap from 7th place. So it's looking unlikely for him to score any points in this Grand Prix, but I think Heidfeld is going to the end.
Heidfeld should be going to the end, seeing as his stop was quite late on. But Webber and Ralf are quite feisty behind. Webber looking for a move there in the final corner.
And the battle that's was for 8th is now a battle for
Villeneuve
7th.
got past Pantano.
He has indeed, down at turn 10, that is. Jacques Villeneuve dispatching of championship leader Giorgio Pantano, and will try and pull out, well, he'll try and pull out as much as a gap as he can, but I imagine he won't be able to pull out enough of a gap to rejoin ahead of him.
As Ralf Furman is also told to box at some point in the near future. And I guess
entering the
free
pit
stop
lane.
strategy.
Oh, and around that's
Weldon.
yeah, that's Dan Weldon spinning round at the no, that's Coulthard. Oh,
That's Coulthard.
That's
what
Coulthard,
the-
third place man Coulthard.
What happened there?
I think trying to, a bit desperate and trying to actually lap Pedro de la Rosa, despite... Oh,
De La Rosa sent it on the
back up the
inside.
inside and tagged him round, and the Scotsman's going to be pretty angry there with the Spaniard. No damage done to his car, it seems, but it might damage his chances in possibly trying to take a second podium of the season.
And might cope De La Rosa a potential penalty, seeing as the stewards probably don't like that move by the Spaniard being a lap down.
We'll see if he's more complying the second time round when David Coulthard, when David Coulthard gets past him.
Tries around the outside.
More contact.
Tags him.
Dear me, Pedro, look in your mirrors, mate. There's a Scotsman right behind you. And his helmet that's currently blue will be turning red with anger as Raikkonen into the pits at the end of this lap. So Barrichello will quickly reassume his position as race
Just
leader.
see him behind Coulthard, actually.
VAR already in the
Oh,
that's for
Coulthard's
Weldon.
actually boxing.
No, that's for
Yeah,
Weldon, I think.
No, it's for Coulthard. It's for Coulthard. So
But
Coulthard.
Weldon got a pit call as well.
Okay.
That's why I was confused.
So Raikkonen
So-
into the pits. Barrichello takes the lead. Coulthard into the pits. We'll see how this one plays out. Gap to Pantano, as Villeneuve called into the pits at the end of this lap, is 24.5 seconds. We will see if it is enough for David Coulthard to rejoin in the lead. It needs to be a good stop from the BAR crew to solidify a possible podium chance for the Scotsman.
Around 7 seconds would be good enough. 8 seconds actually.
8.0. Where is Pantano? Down the main
Big
straight he
close,
comes.
so it should be enough.
This is going to be close between the two of them. There's Coulthard on the
Yes,
right.
it's enough, it's enough.
It's going to be close. I don't think Pantano's done enough. He hasn't. Coulthard rejoins just in third place. But now he's got 15 laps to hold on to arguably one of the fastest drivers on the grid.
And already up to temperatures tires on that Renault. So Pantano should have the upper hand for the next 5 corners.
Villeneuve
He's
rejoins
close.
in 5th place, comfortably ahead of Alexander Wirtz in 6th.
Should be enough for Coulthard at the moment, but the gap obviously is quite close.
Further back, we're still seeing that Mark Webber has not actually gotten past Nick Heidfeld. The two fairly similar in straight line speed is making the Australian's life a little bit harder in actually trying to get through as Barrichello begins lap 43, and as such we have got 15 laps remaining of the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix. It seems that it's all calmed down for now, although we have got a number of drivers quite close to each other. We're not seeing many overtakes at this stage of the race. Ralph Furman, though, will be into the box at the end of this lap. It's been a very disappointing weekend for the Dams Lola Panos team, and it's been very much highlighted by Jaguar's poor performance with the same Cosworth engine, or near enough to the same Cosworth engine. Either way, he's into the box, the Irishman.
Really highlighting how bad of a season it could be for the team, seeing as the Cosworth engine is definitely the biggest Achilles heel of the team in terms of performance. Close with their suspensions. But another free-stop strategy for Ralph Furman. Sees him down in 17th and last behind Dan Weldon.
An equally disappointing race for him, with his teammate up in 3rd. It's not been quite as good as his season opening Australian Grand Prix.
Maybe highlighting his deficits compared to his teammate at Jensen
Do my eyes
Button,
deceive
actually.
me?
Yeah, Jensen Button making an overtake!
On an Opel!
The scenes!
Well, we need a replay of this. This is unprecedented stuff.
That's close to De La Rosa qualifying nearly on P4. There he goes, down the inside.
Up the inside,
makes a
simple
mistake.
move for Jensen Button, and he moves up to 13th place.
Surely he has to stop again, seeing his pace. Up the hill we go, but seemingly no pit call, so that might actually be on pace. Jensen Button actually making an overtake. Who would have thought with that engine?
Did Glock fall asleep at the wheel?
Good question.
Maybe. Who knows? There's certainly a battle that's thriving and awake for 7th place. Heidfeld trying to fend off Mark Webber with all of his might, with just 13 laps remaining in this one. Ralf Schumacher also on a watching brief. So if either one of them make a mistake, or if either one of them get a penalty for causing a collision with each other and so on and so forth, it'll be Ralf Schumacher that will take the honours in getting his first points finish of the season. Oh, a bit of a rear stepping out moment there for Mark Webber. We saw that a lot in Malaysia, and it seems that those problems have not been cured for Bahrain.
Yes. Huntsman seemingly doesn't have the pace to overtake Coulthard, as Webber once again looks for a move there, nearly spinning the German around. Not close enough for a decent overtaking possibility down into the final corner, but the Lamborghini engine not proving enough to compared to the Mercedes engine. Hitting around 310 nearly under braking. Jumps over the curb this time, not spinning himself around, but Ralf Schumacher clearly not being that on pace with both of them, just barely keeping up. As also in the background you can see Rubens Barrichello approaching, so this could be quite interesting with the lapped cars as well.
I'll be right back.
Okay. As Mark Webber looks for a move, this time maybe makes it stick. That Heidfeld keeps the position, better exit by the German. First time I see one of your live who is in a Ferrari since I see their custom lineup. So Jarno Trulli is the lead Ferrari driver who started from pole position but stalled off the grid. Rubens Barrichello is the second Ferrari driver who moved there from Renault from last season. He's currently leading this race and probably will win it, seeing as he's completed his strategy. McLaren are Michael Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen. Mine flop, that took a longer time. Giorgio Pantano, Fernando Alonso at Renault, and Jacques Villeneuve, Riccardo Sperrifico at Toyota for the time being. Giancarlo Fisichella should be back in a couple of races, I think, nearly done with his injury. Also, Sampas, the Discord comment still doesn't work, so don't even bother with that. Williams, Alexander Wurz and Juan Pablo Montoya. Alexander Wurz being the 2001 world champion. Ralf Schumacher and Takuma Sato at Honda, with Ralf Schumacher winning the last season's championship. And the card you can see here is the Red Bull Lamborghini, who have bought out Sauber, and pair Mark Webber with Felipe Massa, who has been kept on from Sauber, and the rest you can see on the Discord, because I don't remember all of the lineups. And yeah, in the meantime, as you can see, Webber getting loose there over the curb in turn 8, as we are now seeing the battle between David Coulthard and Giorgio Pantano.
Seems that that Pantano's not really got enough of a grunt down the straight line to actually get close to David Coulthard by the braking zone. I feel like maybe the tyre wear is also playing a factor into this. Obviously, same fuel load going to the end of the race between Coulthard and Pantano. And obviously now Coulthard with fresher tyres, he's maybe able to just eke out those extra couple of tenths through this technical middle sector, enough to actually keep him ahead of the Italian. It seems that that is very clearly the case, because despite the Renault's clear downforce and technical advantage in mechanical grip, it seems that he is really struggling to actually keep up with David Coulthard through those slow speed sections, as we're seeing a battle continue to rage on between Jenson Button and Timo Glock. Button once again getting the better of the German. As yeah, it seems like this the hope of an Opel point has certainly been diffused as the race has gone on. Even with the amount of retirements that we've had, it's certainly gone down the drain for the German team. It's certainly been good steps forward, though, especially in qualifying for the team, with De La Rosa in 9th place, his career best of his Formula 1 career, and as well as Opel's best career start in Formula 1, both happening in the same race. As Button and Gluck continue to battle. Webber looking like he's going to lock up there and make a bit of a mistake. Barrichello, I think, is directly behind him, so he, fortunately for him, won't fall under pressure from Ralf Schumacher. I think that was crucial there that Rubens Barrichello was there. Otherwise, I think the reigning world champion would have been up into 8th place.
Yeah, definitely. As Heidfeld now needs to let Barrichello through in a safe manner as well. That should do it, with a little bit of a gap behind to Webber. Seemingly
Webber's closing though. Webber's closing at a rate of knots. He's looking towards the inside. Heidfeld's blocking that inside line as much as he possibly could without possibly trying to cut across the Red Bull. I don't think the Australian's going to be too best pleased with the Germans' antics in the defensive department, but Heidfeld will keep 7th place for now with 10 laps remaining in this Grand Prix.
As we head down into turn 1 now, but Webber not close enough. Maybe actually the slipstream of the Ferrari helping Heidfeld to defend as well. As he's keeping up with the Ferrari, at least on the straights, but now in the corners he will be far ahead.
I think as it currently stands, Pantano will lead the championship on 23, yep. And then I think 2nd place would be Coulthard.
Coulthard still
on 17, and then Barrichello 6. How many points is Raikkonen on?
Let me.
Is he also on 10? I think it'd be Raikkonen. I think it's Pantano, Raikkonen, Coulthard, Barrichello, the top 4.
So Pantano on 23.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I got rage baited by the plugin.
Okay, Pantano on 23, Coulthard would be on 17, Raikkonen on 16, Barrichello on 16, but he would be ahead on countback.
Isn't Raikkonen on 10?
Oh yeah, 18. Never mind. He would be ahead of Coulthard then as well. So Coulthard would be...
No, it'd be Alonso still.
No, Villeneuve. How many points do you get for P6?
4. I mean, he's 5th.
Alonso. No, then.
How many?
No,
points
Alonso won the race. Alonso won the race, so
yes.
Yeah, okay. Alonso would be ahead then on countback. Villeneuve would be on 10 as well. Wirtz would jump ahead of Michael and Montoya, who would be all on equal points, and everybody behind makes up in terms of position. At least Webber gets on the grid, on the points to score, and Heidfeld obviously as well, if it stays like this. With Heidfeld being ahead of Weldon, Massa, Webber, and I think somebody else still.
No, that shouldn't be anyone else.
Never mind, I was tripping. Anyway. Yeah, so still the battle between P7 down to P9, the closest we have. Well, actually, Kolok and Button kicking 6 tons of shit out of each other. As Button somehow keeps up close enough to Glock.
He's been dropped so much.
Somehow keeps up in the cornering though, so maybe the Jaguar being a half decent package in terms of cornering speed, maybe, but seemingly this time around, Glock
it's just
has
hilarious
that move.
seeing these two battle each other, even though Button's getting absolutely dunked down absolutely every straight.
And you see him close up here in the mid part of the lap. So, seemingly, if you put the Opel engine in the back of the Jaguar, maybe the car would be fighting for decent points. But I think this time around, Glock has made the mistake. With now Barrichello having only 8 laps remaining on the clock.
Oh, we've seen a position in the points change. Is Ralf Schumacher ahead of Mark Webber for 8th position?
Maybe Webber dropped it again over the curb.
We'll have a
Possibly.
look. I think it was a move down at turn 1. Oh, contact there between Heidfeld and Webber. And is Webber going to go for the move again down the inside of Heidfeld?
Yes.
I think he is. Another overzealous move from the Australian is going to see him do a half spin, and it's going to see him regret that massively. A points finish now waving at him in the form of Ralf Schumacher directly in front of him, and this could be the world champion's possible chance to take his first point of the season. Yeah, thank you to Eurobork for this for this amazing coverage, TV coverage that definitely isn't just me.
Yeah. Panther not being a flop like IRL was crazy. It seems like he just kept the performance he had in other categories. Yes, but that's with many outcomes coming differently to him actually getting the F1 seat quite early on in his junior categories as well.
Yeah, so this is actually Giorgio Pantano's 4th season in the sport where he drove. It was actually in the Lamborghini Driver Academy that was around in the early 2000s when BAR and Lamborghini were a pair. He was the BAR Lamborghini test and reserve driver in 2000, then moved to Minardi for 2001 before moving to Jaguar for 2002 and leaving the Lamborghini family, staying at Jaguar for 2003 and actually winning his first ever race, albeit in not so usual circumstances. Both of the top 2 in San Marino actually getting disqualified due to their cars being illegal, and then he has made what was thought of as a sideways move between Renault and Jaguar has very clearly not been the case, as he currently leads the championship, with this round actually featuring a Jaguar failing to qualify for a Grand Prix. It's actually been such a contrast between Jaguar and Renault between 2003 and 2004. The two of them were fighting pretty close in the Constructors' Championship last season after Renault had a fairly dismal second half to the season. They were fairly close to the Constructors' Championship lead for most of it through that first part, and then fell off through the second bit. Jaguar picking up back-to-back wins in San Marino thanks to Pantano and Button in Great Britain. Yes, Button actually does get a podium at his home race, unlike real life, and the first podium that he gets is a race win. And now Jaguar is very much a shadow of its former self, just from a few months ago. There's Webber looking for a move on Ralf Schumacher. He's having to block the move of Mark Webber towards the final corner. As where is Rubens Barrichello now? He's just started lap 52, so we've got 6 to go in this Grand Prix.
So Webber has a look. Actually, alongside, this could be enough for him under braking. He makes a mistake.
Yeah, he's
back up into the points position.
Yeah, the straight line speed of the Honda really backfiring against actually keeping that position against Mark Webber, despite I think the Honda being slightly faster than the Red Bull in the corners. It seems that Ralf Schumacher might have to wait another race at least to score his first points of the season.
Webber with a look there again on Nick Heifert, but he will probably lose out on the exit again, but Ralf not able to capitalize on that mistake by the Australian. It's time for the Ferrari to break down. Yeah, please not. I've
actually just realised Coulthard's pulled away from Pantano at this late stage, so the fresher tyres of the Scotsman certainly seem to have proven dividends in keeping a second podium finish of the season.
As clearly Mark found his pace again, just behind the German of Nick Heidfeld.
Will he have another look through? Is another question. 5 laps to go for race leader Rubens Barrichello. He has a 19.5 second lead ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, and David Coulthard rounds out the top 3.
I think Webber is now the closest he has ever been on the main straight, but not close enough for a real passing opportunity down turn 1. Jumps over the curb, nearly spinning himself around again. So he needs to find a different line maybe there to set up Highfield.
Oh, Timo Glock!
Oh, Glock! Oh, God!
What has happened to
Where
Glock?
is- Oh, okay, I know what happened to him.
Will he be able to rejoin the circuit? Is
There
unknown,
is a
but
gap.
it's-
There is a gap he should fit
Have a
through.
look. Was it Button that he was
He
involved with?
Yeah, he spun him around and he probably drove up to banking there.
No, Vizella's move there from Button. Too little, too late from the Briton, and it sees Thibaut Glock exit the track confines. Well done, Jensen.
Yes. He should be able to get through under the bridge there, but that's essentially his race ruined.
Yeah, he's fallen down
There we
to
go.
last place now. So a massive shame for him, as he's
Oh
always
God!
blocked Ralph
Oh,
Schumacher, and
he's
that's gonna-
interfered. That one there.
and that's going to interfere with Ralph Schumacher's chances of trying to get a points finish, especially if Timo Glock just starts overtaking him with the straight line speed that he's got, even though he's...
He nearly took out Mark Webber actually rejoining the track there. Barely missing the Red Bull. This is alright. Let's go, we are beating a car on track. Oh god.
Opel.
Already in the pits.
Yeah, Opel ready in the pits, obviously, for servicing the car of Timo Glock. Webber once again not close enough for a move down the inside on the final corner.
Those aren't great cameras for this car. Either way,
Yeah.
we're now on board on the nose of Mark Webber as he tries to look for a move up the inside of Nick Heidfeld. It's coming from a long way back there. Heidfeld holds his ground once again. This has been a great defensive display from the German as he looks to try and score his best career finish of his Formula 1 career. So far, only 1 points finish he has gotten, and that was with Brabham in the season finale at Japan, where he finished 8th.
As Timo Glock's stop took 8.7 seconds to repair the nose cone of that Opel as
There's Webber
Webber
up
down
the
the
inside.
inside. Contact between the pair of them, but Heifeld keeps the position with better traction out of the corner. And defends the inside there against Webber down to turn 10. So Webber now getting a bit feisty behind the German, wanting to get the move on now. Seeing as the laps tip down also for them. So Ralf Schumacher in the background actually gets back into the frame for those two. Maybe getting
Can
close for the
confirm.
final lap.
Can confirm that Jensen Button's been given a 10-second time penalty for his collision with Timo Glock, which has seen the German fall all the way down to last place. 3 laps to go for race leader Rubens Barrichello do Brasil.
Washington. As Dan Weldon and Patrick Friesacker are fighting. Not a position where the BAR driver really wants to be, but he has to deal with it.
In a fantastic term of grit and determination, Ralph Furman brings home an unpowered Dams in 16th ahead of the much more powerful Opel on pure pace. No luck, no bull, full honest. What a lad.
That will definitely be a headline, as Webber once again has a look down the inside, but can't make a move on the Brabham. Probably has another look here, but not close enough. Clearly having tried earlier, seeing that it didn't pay off, maybe he takes a different line now, hoping for a better move down turn 10 actually. Nearly locks up into the braking zone there. As in the background you can see Ralf Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen actually approaching, so Räikkönen could be a deciding factor down the line here, Finn will probably lap them before the end of the race.
Yeah, it'll be
Webber
close,
is-
I think, actually.
As Webber is getting loose again behind the Brabham, so clearly the aero deficiencies of the Red Bull shining through again. As already seen in Malaysia, as he has now another look, this time better actually, but doesn't make it stick. As in the background, Raikkonen gets past Ralf Schumacher. But has now been lapped, so only the top 5 are still on the lead lap.
And it seems like Mark Webber, whatever he's seemingly doing, it's not enough to actually displace Nick Heidfeld's confidence in his car. He's really been gelling with it over this race weekend, and it seems almost certain now that he will score those points for the Brabham team. I hear Nils taking a gasp because he's expecting me to commentate, curse his driver commentation.
No, I saw a different message in a different Discord. That's why. As we are now only 1 lap from the end, with Barrichello slowly approaching the final lap of this race. Where's actually the Brazilian? He's now heading into the final corner to start his final lap, and
Vert's possibly struggling to reach fuel numbers is not what he was expecting. He has got only 1 lap to go, as there he is in the background. Final lap of the race for Rubens Barrichello to take his first victory since Japan 1999. It's been a long, long wait, and Driver of the Day votes, deservedly so. Barrichello winning ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. Nick Heidfeld also in the top 3 with his fantastic drive to the points, so far at least. Barrichello with a 19-second lead, and barring any mechanical failure on the very last lap, should be able to bring this one home.
As the Brazilian now into the second sector, as this is huge for Nick Heidfeld. Kimi Raikkonen right on the back of Mark Webber, and Mark Webber defending the position from the Finn. Actually making it rather difficult for the Australian. Brazilian TV is now crying with happiness, probably, as Raikkonen now on the back of the Mercedes and McLaren Mercedes test and reserve driver, actually. Heidfeld making it much easier for Raikkonen there. Should actually help him as well, costing him at least time as well, but Webber is on the back of the German as we are heading to a final corner with Rubens Barrichello, who has driven a quiet but good race.
And now rounding the final corner for Rubens Barrichello of Brazil. He's going to take the checkered flag in the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix. His fist is punching up in the air as he takes victory for the first time in 5 seasons. A brilliant victory, taking advantage of those around him having mechanical problems. Kimi Raikkonen will get his 2nd consecutive podium of the season, a season's best 2nd place finish, and David Coulthard as well with another podium to his name, and getting some more valuable championship points for BAR in their partnership with Audi. Quite a solemn race overall for Giorgio Pantano. Did not have the pace as he has had done in the opening 2 rounds to make a comeback to the podium. 4th place for him in the end, and it should be Villeneuve. It will be Villeneuve, the last driver on the lead lap, scoring more valuable points for Toyota in their constructors' battle in the best of the rest positions. Alexander Wurz matches his best finish of the season in 6th, with Heidfeld getting his and Brabham's first points of the season, and Webber also scoring his first points in the Red Bull. Ralf Schumacher just misses out in 9th, with Massa 10th, Bittonia 11th, De La Rosa in 12th, Jenson Button 13th, last of those that were only a lap down. Then, disappointingly, Dan Wheldon in 14th, just holding on ahead of Patrick Friesacker. Then Ralph Furman and Timo Glock round out those who finished 9 retirements with Michael Schumacher, Montoya, Wilson, Sato, Alonso, Benoit Trellier, Riccardo Sperafico, Nicolas Minassian and Jarno Trulli completing the 26. But it is Barrichello who has taken victory and had possibly thrusted himself into an unlikely title fight. Join
It
us.
just dawned on,
Sorry, go on.
dawned on me. I need to pay Nick for the bonus.
No, I think that's a Pitsonia bonus actually.
Phew.
As you can join us next week. It shall be same time, same place, Sunday 6 p.m. GMT for the 4th round of the championship, where the European leg will begin in Manicourt, France. That's going to be all from me in today's stream. I hope you have all enjoyed, and that's going to be all from Nils in today's stream as well.
Benny. Yeah, it's enough for me.
Okay, see you later, guys. Hope you have a good rest of your evenings, and goodbye.